PSGL, George Horgan here and Jack Canat.
All the lights are currently lit here on track. And it is go, go, go!
Contact through the Mercedes teammate.
Denoso with a crafty manoeuvre up the inside. Masterclass from the Chilean.
Crucial championship points on offer here.
Do not count down Danny Berezne.
Longe has done the job. This is for the win between these two.
Freddie Rasmussen wins the United States Grand Prix.
Alfie Butcher wins for the first time ever. Lucas Blakely takes the championship. It's Barry Foreman.
Jarno Opmeer is your champion.
Oh, come on. Oh, again, you don't even have me as a camera.
No, don't.
Oh, that's
And I
outrageous.
zoomed in
Don't
heavily.
leak the Discord. Don't leak the Discord.
I'm not.
I'm warning you.
You're just zoomed in really. I'm just zoomed in heavily, Josh, for some reason.
That's all right. I can zoom myself in.
You
We
there?
can match.
No, you're not.
I
Yes,
hope
you
so. I
are.
hope I'm
Way,
here.
there he
Am
is.
I here? Hello. Beautiful. Pleasure to be here. Oh, we do love technical difficulties, and we do love being back here for E-Series, don't we, Nathan? Of course. Round 7 already.
It's gone quick, hasn't it? I feel like this
Mate,
has gone the
put us
quickest
back to
we've
round
had.
4. Put us back to round 4, please. I beg.
You wasn't here then.
Ridiculous. Huh?
You wasn't here in round 4, was you?
No, but put us back there so we can have longer in E-Series, my friend.
Why does he keep doing
Brilliant.
that? So when I click on OBS, my camera zooms in, but then when I click out of OBS, it zooms out.
Do you want me to like sort of like just hover here?
No, this is for me. You're fine.
Is that better?
Right.
Are you sure?
I need to sort this issue
Oh.
out, so ignore that. Right, let's have a look at the standings actually for today, because unfortunately we
Yes.
don't have lineups. But oh my, the standings is stupidly close going into this race. So TES Tomašin Sim Racing top the standings on 235 points, and Vloche Academy sitting second, followed by R8G in third, for Race Clutch in fourth, and Ferrari in fifth. And those 5 teams, Josh, are separated by
Pause.
30. I'll put right. I said 30. It don't count.
Yeah.
38 points.
Brother, it does count. You could have just paused. 30. Wait, hold on. The maths. 8. But it would have been absolutely perfectly smooth. Already notice, right?
Yeah.
Corey's calling us goats on Twitch. Thank you very much, Corey.
Thank you, Corey.
But Penguin Victoria, giving us a bit of yap in the Twitch chat. Tech difficulties and PSGL. Name a better duo. I've got one for you. Jan Halliday, Nelson Alves, back in the driving seat for TES.
Yeah.
Easy 1-2. I'm predicting it now. Dead set. Foot down. Job done. Full qualifying doesn't matter. They're built different. They're here to win. Of course, you know, those two, as far as things have gone whenever they've been together, they've been almost unstoppable. So that's my early prediction out of the way. TES, I reckon we're going to extend that lead from, of course, for
They
38
have.
points.
And
A
Josh,
little bit more. Yes, mate.
I'm looking through at the Veloce Academy lineup, and I've noticed
on.
they've got Angelo and Ricardo. But last night, around the same circuit, they both got beaten by, well, both of them got beaten by 2 people in the same team. One of them won the race and hasn't been included in the lineup. Now, that's a bit odd, isn't it, Josh? Don't you agree?
It's a bit odd. But then again, if they've practiced to work together, that's more valuable than any sort of singular lap time. Of course, team's championship, you will want to work together. You will want to bounce off each other as best as you possibly can. Ideally, if they're going to work together a little bit nicer, you know,
Yes.
Angelo, Ricardo, fair enough, in my opinion. That's a logical change. Same time, though, you look around at a couple more of these drivers. A couple of them going to be a little stronger. Of course, R8G have got Tycho Hardy and Tamas Gal representing. Again, another good solid lineup.
I wonder
And
why
then
that is, Josh.
Interesting. Interesting. But I'm excited to see what RHG are going to be able to do. I mean, of course, Ferrari, we have to mention, defending champions. I've got Camille Staturer and Dylan Warren. But unfortunately, Dylan's not on his regular setup.
He's an A.
No. He's playing on a laptop.
What?
And he's also said he's got a load of wheel issues when he was trying to run it on the laptop and a little bit of lagging. So, fingers crossed for him that he's going to be able to make it through the Jeddah Street circuit very safely. Because realistically, you need to be on the ball around the circuit, don't you?
Oh,
you need to be more than on the ball. You need to be the ball. You need to roll around like it's second nature.
Will Gibson.
Talk about balls. Welcome back.
I don't think
It's all right.
watching.
Well, I love you. I love you.
Right.
Right,
So,
there you go.
they changed the track for a second, but no, they put it back to Jeddah.
Oh,
But,
I almost had a mystery GP
so-
there. That would be brilliant.
I'm looking still through the lineup. Looking for the
Yes.
dates. Obviously, TRT. We've got Tudor Pressacan again, but they got Alessio Di Capua, a man of experience, back here in the PSGL lobby. Of course, we
However-
haven't seen him in E-Series. I think he made one appearance last season for TRT. But before that, it's been a long time since we've seen Alessio compete. I mean, I think it was in like the 2020 esports lineup. Like Alessio's been reigning for a long time.
He's been here a hot minute, but what I will say is he's clearly not read the rule book. If any Tatum engineers are watching, please make him leave the lobby and give himself a new name tag before we start qualifying. Otherwise, he will just get a penalty, and that's the last thing we want any of these drivers. TRT are massive, but they don't actually. They're not an F1 team yet.
No, so that
There's
could be.
been-
Is
yeah.
it a penalty for having no?
Yes. Yeah,
oh.
it is. Yeah. So I'll change it.
But then but Josh, maybe it's an issue at our end. It's just a visual glitch.
No, what do you mean? A glitch on our end? An issue on our end? A technical problem on our end, Nathan? What do you think we are?
Never.
WOR? We don't do that.
I can't say anything there, Josh. Right, so finally, the last lineup we need to look through here is Race Clutch, who, for some reason, haven't put Lenny Papinta in the lineup. Now that is a surprise, because I feel like every week we're like, right, Race Clutch have got Lenny and someone else, but no Lenny today. They've got Reese and Lillian, who are taking up Race Clutch, who I've got to say have had a bit of an up and down season. And the mad thing is, Josh, we can say that from their results they've had in the past couple of races, this season's been poor for them, but they're still fourth and they're still only 30 odd points off the championship lead. So it just shows that what would they have been able to do if they were like what they were last season, and that goes for Ferrari too.
I'm not sure. And that's the straight answer.
Oh,
No one's going to
Dylan's
enjoy it.
left. Great.
That's fine. He'll come back. He's just giving Alessio a little bit of an opportunity to be able to hop back in and get stuff sorted again. Maybe. Either that or Dylan's laptop has crashed, overheated, and decided to go and turn into a fiery inferno.
He just put, I've absolutely left.
Well, that's very, very thoughtful of you, Dylan, to let us know you have left the lobby. Really appreciate that one, mate. But yeah, no. With Race Clutch, it's one of those, isn't it, where coming off of last season, it's really, really strong. They were up there with Ferrari for almost the entire time. It was phenomenal to see.
Yeah.
This season, they haven't quite been at that level, or everyone else around them has started to develop, started to understand the game a little more, and made quicker progress. It's almost as if you could say it's like the Red Bull this year in real Formula 1, where the other teams have been able to catch up a little bit more, whether that's through, technicalities, wheel settings, certain ways you're able to manipulate the game to be able to take curbs smoother, such as lower hertz rates or whatever it might be, FPS. There's so many different things that all these drivers take into consideration to be able to perform at the best of their abilities. And for some people, it comes a lot more natural than others when you end up, changing the FPS down, try and lock it to 2 FPS and teleport around the track. I, for one, not necessarily the best at teleporting, Nathan, but I've heard you're pretty good at teleporting.
Well, I mean, I don't like to tell my secrets, so I'll keep that one hidden
my bad.
away.
Apologies.
So, no, we're not going to talk about that. But Josh, another thing to mention is as well, a lot of drivers here on this grid have recently, or in the past year or so, moved over from console, and there's also differences between console and PC as well. That there is rumours that it is quicker on PC than it is on console, so that's another thing to consider. They've got to, make those changes and adapt to PC. And a lot of the drivers tend to do it well, but I'm not going to name names, but over the scene you do see a few that have moved over and you think was that the right thing for them to do? Because they've gotten worse, for example. But you know, there's a couple of names, but none of them are on here, so don't worry. I'm not pointing fingers at anyone.
Uh,
Not today,
kind
at
of sounds like
least.
you're throwing shade. You're not naming names, but you're throwing a little bit of
Oh,
shade.
I'm not gonna name names. I'm not.
Well, I'm just saying, if you're going to call people out, you should do. For example, I'm going to call Dylan Warren out here. His issue was with the NVIDIA GeForce settings. He accidentally pressed Alt-Z and didn't realise he had to press the same buttons to make it disappear, so he's had to turn on and off the game. It's all right, Dylan. We love you.
He's back now,
Stay
though.
strong. He is back.
And
so hopefully we'll be able to get underway in a matter of moments.
yes.
So the yapping can at least continue with some Formula One cars in the background.
And Alessio Di Capua, he's going to be in a bit of trouble because he's still not put his name in his Steam account.
It's fine. We'll pretend. We'll pretend. I just hope everyone's got the same car, because if he didn't read the rules, he probably won't even know that.
Well, he's got the
Imagine
same
if he-
purple dot, which is a good thing.
Yeah, so it shows someone's told him the rules.
And
but
last
maybe he hasn't read 'em.
week, I noticed
Go
a
on.
certain team trying to take points, and their way of doing that was not by doing well in a race because they was quite poor, but instead they
Go
thought,
on.
you know what, we'll try and get Ferrari a penalty for having a different hex code on their little red dots.
I mean, if it's in the rules, it's in the rules,
And it
right?
worked because Patrick got a 1 second penalty.
At that point, who do you penalise? Because one of them's got to have a right hex code, and one of them's got to have a wrong
Well, they
one.
up
But
to
if there's not a
Patrick.
set hex code,
But it was
Right,
the thing is though, it was a poor race anyway last week. P13 before the penalty and P17 for Ferrari. Now that
it's
doesn't
just insult
happen.
to injury, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
You didn't really need it. You could have saved that for another day.
Oh, definitely, but no, they got a P13, P17. Hopefully today is the change of that, and Ferrari can get back to where they normally are, which is sitting 1-2, or at least having both cars in the top 10. Because last time we had one get knocked out in Q1 and the other get knocked out in Q2, and I mean, I don't think that's happened before for Ferrari in this championship, ever.
I'm trying to cast my mind back. The only other time I think it could happen is when they had a qualifying ban.
When was that now? That would have been a while ago as well.
Yeah, that would have been when I first joined in from old Josh, wouldn't it?
Old Josh. That was that would have been end of season 2, wouldn't it? Mid-season 2.
Oh, and Kryptonite's confirmed. We've penalised the driver that finished highest in the race. Ouch. So, I hope for Alessio's sake, if it is a team penalty, he at least finishes higher, so then he gets the penalty he deserves, rather than passing it over to Tudor Freshcam, who we have seen has been able to pull out some miraculous performances.
Yes, Tudor. He's done a really good job. I mean, he's one of those drivers where he either does really well or he's at the bottom of the barrel. There's no in between. So hopefully tonight it's one of those performances where he can jump up into the top 10 in Q3, you know, try and get a good lap underway and then go into the race and have some momentum, because that is one thing we've seen this season as well. Momentum helps, and we've seen teams that have been a little bit poor and that's carried on. And some of those that we don't normally see at the top, they'll get 1 or 2 good results and then they're up there again next week, maybe the week after they're up there again. So TRT, one of those teams I think that definitely benefit off a little bit of momentum.
Oh, here we go.
And that increases their confidence. As we do have, Josh, a lap time starting. This is for Nelson Alves on the intermediate tyres for TES, who I think, you know, remember Monza last time, the the puncture that he had into the final corner ruined the top 4.
Yeah, then he
That
ended up
was
facing
horrible,
backwards,
wasn't it?
didn't he, out of
It was horrible.
Parabolica.
I mean, that is like, it's the type of thing you don't want to see, because you know how mentally that's going to affect a driver in that moment.
Yeah, but it's good to see him. He's back, and he looks like he's clocked himself back in. He seemed very confident. Of course, the traditional Nelson Alves tactic of not messing around, not BMing in chat, just focused on what he's doing. It's beautiful to see. Someone who is BMing in chat, and I'm not talking about YouTube or Twitch, you guys are safe, looking at the general chat for E-Series, because Jonah Martins has just found out that there's a 0 FPS glitch, which, of course, if you guys haven't seen on Twitter earlier today, there is a glitch where you end up getting 0 FPS on the game and your car ends up like levitating forwards and backwards.
What? Is that actually a real thing?
Yeah, it's a real thing. It's a real thing.
And is that any reason why Kemel's just left? Because Kemel has just...
It might be. It might very well be.
I mean, That's not the start Ferrari want. And Camille, I think, if I remember correctly, was the driver last week that qualified P17 for Ferrari. And at the moment,
Yeah.
he can't get back in the session, which is certainly not ideal. But hopefully, his teammate can help get him back in as quick as possible. As Nelson Alves set to lap time of 1:30.006. Let's have a look who else is on the lap there. As Jerry Van Bussel goes up into P2. We've got Florian Fanzelter back again here for ABS. And I've noticed, Josh, they've had a very recent signing, haven't they, of Will Lewis. Which I still don't understand, but...
No, I'm not entirely clued in with it, but...
I feel like it's just a way of saying, right, so esports is happening in a month's time, because we can finally say that. It's happening in a month's time. There's some tracks that will feature on the calendar. Let's just put Will in one of the other esports teams and let him just try and get some practice in, I suppose.
Yeah, let's give him a go, because at the end of the day, you know,
I mean,
you are sat there as a team of however many development drivers you have and the 3 drivers selected, right? Of course, you've got a main driver, a second driver, a member reserve driver, right? A lot of teams, I'm sure they'll be rotated around all of them, but it's about the development drivers. It doesn't matter really how much you try. You can't have a super competitive race with the development.
I'm surprised. So obviously we'll know Will Lewis is a very good driver, and on this grid he could easily compete for wins. And the thing that confuses me the most is his engineer, or one of the engineers at Williams, is the manager of TF10. Now, surely to me that would make sense to say, right, Will, go and join TF10 and get some points for them, because they've lacked it recently. So very confused of why they didn't put Will there.
Double agent, mate. Double agent.
Oh, he's in the chat. He just put 3 dots. Hello, Will.
Yeah. I mean, you're sitting there. You both work together at the team. You're like,
Why
right,
not
okay,
racing with
cool.
us tonight? Disgrace.
I would love a Will Lewis on the grid. I say that as if anyone would argue against it.
If they did,
but then again, we would have to get rid of a Florian and a Hugo as well.
Yeah, true. But we don't see much of them anyway, so wouldn't be the biggest loss.
Right, as Rashawn Jacobs drops for all vital information in the YouTube chat. I'm not repeating that one.
No racing.
As Will Lewis confirms, everyone is a Will Lewis fan. Absolutely.
Yes,
How could you not be?
If you, like I've always said this, if any commentator says they dislike Will Lewis, then they can get out.
Exactly. It's like saying you dislike my yapping. It might as well, there's no such thing.
Well, we all know one certain driver that does, don't we, Josh? We're not going to name names, though.
No, we're not going to name names, but I hope he enjoys his Magnum ice cream. As we are seeing a couple drivers already go out on the soft compound tyre. You might be thinking it's about time. I've wasted 6-7 minutes for this session.
They have.
But don't worry, it's fine. I've still got 11 minutes. A relatively short lap, 1:30 on the inters. These drivers are going to be looking to crack down into the low 20s and really try to eke out as much time as possible. Unfortunately for them, they can't wall ride. It's not NASCAR. You will have to behave. It's not a Forza. You will just have to drive a car normally. As much as I'm sure everyone would love to wall ride on that final corner. Similar to what Max said back in the day.
Danfield not Danfield. Will Lewis says Danfield celebrated a P4 in Mexico. Had me in tears. I mean, I would as well, to be honest. I'm not going to just sit there and say I wouldn't, because I certainly would. But I was ill that week, so I wasn't commentating. So that was actually a shame. And I swear at one point, Will, you were like leading the race as well. So it could have been a P1. So
yeah, and he would have won it too.
I mean, you would have saw Danfield then with his top off on stream, swinging it around in the air.
That's a sight to see. Oh my word! I'm sure Dan would feel most comfortable doing that one.
The things we end up talking about when nothing's going on is just, it's confusing, isn't it? Even I don't even know what I'm talking about. But Josh, we do have cars on track now. We have Hugo and Danny. Now, which one do you want to watch?
Oh, let's go Hugo.
There
He's flying it for a minute. He's kept it valid out of Sector 1. And you can see him absolutely sending it in Sector 2 over the curbs. And it's something that I don't feel like this track gets too much credit for. Is the curbs, because they've balanced it really, really well with having both punishing and, the relaxed curbs. Ones you're actually able to take full advantage of, abuse, and try and manipulate the car's handling in a way to be able to gain more time out of it compared to, the sort of curbs which will just murder you if you touch them. And it's something I really like about this circuit. I feel like it adds another dynamic, adds another risk factor for those drivers, where you can get murdered by the curbs, but majority of the time, you're free to just use them and rotate the car, and that's absolutely brilliant. It's what I love to see. It's what I love understanding from these drivers and how they pick apart the racing lines. We've got a 27.5 there for Hugo. I'm sure we're going to see quicker lap times throughout this qualifying session. Where do we think the cut-off point's going to be here, Nathan?
I mean, I don't know. It's hard to call. I mean, I reckon it's got to be in the low 27s, I reckon, and well, maybe a 0.3 or 0.2, and I'm saying that just because I know ABS tend to be down there anyway, so it's around where they are normally, that cut-off point. So yeah, possibly around a 0.2 or 0.3 maybe in this session. We'll get to see, we'll get a bit more of a picture once a few more cars set a lap. And Danny Van Roten now just leaving the final corner, heading up to the line. We'll see what can he set here for CPI, a 27.110. And now that
Massive.
Isn't a surprise because we know over these past couple of weeks we've seen Danny more and more, and he's really getting comfortable here with this F124 game, really putting in some brilliant results. And, without him, CPI had been absolutely nowhere. So a great job from him to kind of bounce them up the standings. But Josh, the thing we love to see on our screen, everybody now is on an out lap, and we do have many cars starting their laps. And the first one, Kieran Latour, here for FVR.
Absolutely brilliant. Again, with that hot pink and sky blue liveries, we're looking to send it absolutely ham through this first sector. You can see him there using the curbs, as I mentioned slightly beforehand, nailing each and every apex as it comes through in this beautiful flowing first sector. I'm getting lost in my words watching the amount of speed he's carrying through. It's absolutely fantastic. Keeps it well within the track limits there on the exit, which is oh so pivotal to do. I do quickly want to draw attention to the chat. We've got Ruben saying FVR 1-2 trust. As long as Keanu keeps up the way he's going after that first sector, it might very well be. Isaac saying a high 26, and Will Lewis saying the cutoff in WOR was 8.8. Well, fortunately for these drivers, they are competing at a higher level than WR.
Yes,
so let's trim that one down a little bit, shall we?
I mean, you've got to remember also, Josh, this is E-Series. This is the one with WR Tier 1. So I reckon around a point on a 0.0. I did say a 0.2, 0.3, but I've been heavily not miscorrected. Is that a word? Or just heavily corrected?
Heavily corrected, because if you're miscorrected, you were originally right.
Which I certainly wasn't. Not at all.
Oh, dear.
What a start. What a start we've had. But,
Max Villa look out in the chat as well. Livery better than our season.
Certainly.
Oh,
you say that, your driver does go second though, so it's not looking too shabby. And your other driver, Ray Simtiaz, he's heading down towards turn 27. We'll see what he can set on the borders. We're just going to pop the track map up on our screen and we can see who's heading to the line. And there's many black dots, so we're just going to stick it with race
R8G.
R8G. Let's see what they can do. Nothing. So they must have just gone to start their laps. As race goes to the top there with a 20.035. Now that is a very nice lap time.
It's his new wheel.
Indeed. What about Benza here, Josh, for Veloci Academy? I mean, they had... Oh, that's going to be Nelson Alves going quickest now, a 26.8. That's a brilliant time, and that just shows how quick the track is getting. As we have Jan Halliday to the top, we have Benza into second place, and we had as well Kamil Stachura up into the top four. As Tamas Gale only 10th place with that is a big surprise.
Exactly, and we've had Dylan Bourne and Tubush Laban and both of them validate their lap time, so they won't be able to get a lap time back on the board. As Danny Van Router goes back out, currently sitting in P6, he wants another crack at it. He feels like he can improve from a 27.1. All these drivers just whittling away, isn't it? It's one of those things, especially in this Q1 session. You've got to stay on the ball and you've got to keep chipping away at the times in every possible opportunity. I mean, we could expect a couple of these drivers who didn't necessarily set clean laps. Tamas Gal being a clear one there, down in P14. We know he's a lot quicker
what a
than
lap!
that. Angelo Dorotenzio, though, once again proving he is just a joke.
That is brilliant. A
Seriously, how's he not being picked up by a team, guys?
I mean, give it time, it will be.
Yeah, I mean, we won't mention, a couple of complications.
The reason why he left TRC in the first place.
But he's clearly found his feet at VA, and he seems to be enjoying it very much.
Definitely. I mean, this guy in this game has been phenomenal. He's been really, really good. And I'm hoping, and I'll keep thinking, and just hope he's not going to be one of those one-hit wonders where he's really good because this game's bad, which we've seen before. In some of the past games, we've seen drivers that are like, right, the game is bad, but I can get used to it. And then the game after, it's like, well, what are you doing in F2? You're like F5 pace. So hopefully, Angelo doesn't suffer that, and he can just continue getting better and better as the games go on. Because if that's the case, when he's 16, all the teams will be like, right, we want you in esports. We want you in our lineup, because he will be one of the top 30 in the game easily, won't he, Josh? You could probably say that now. I reckon.
Yeah,
He's better than
I
some of
mean-
those that's on the lineup for next season. Will Lewis, no, I'm joking. I'm
Right,
joking,
okay,
Will.
right. We've
I'm
already had
joking.
Jonah abuse him in chat. We've already had Jonah start hybrid up and bullying Will. Come on, let's save a bullying for Will until at least Q3, and then we can look at all 10 laps and save a quickie on him. But no, realistically, Angelo, with a 0.5, I don't want to say it's slightly ridiculous, because it is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, as far as lap times go, he could just retire from a session. He's big chilling. He doesn't need to do
Benza
anything more.
has, and he's 2/10 slower. So, yeah, a 0.7, easily safe. A 0.5, that is more than safe. Like, even if it was literally the top 5, if it was anyone from 5th going down, Angelo would be fine to retire now with a 0.561. Like, that is a brilliant lap. But everyone below Reese, you've got to, maybe Reese couldn't get away with it, but below Camel, they've all got to go again surely here for a final run. And Danny has gone really out of sync here and put himself out really early, going for his second run straight away, and let's see what he can do this time. So he's up by 53,000 here, so that's good enough to not even jumping up position. He'll stay P11, and that is not where you want to be heading into the next part of this session. And I feel there has Tycho Hardy played that a little bit risky, retiring on a 907.
A little.
Because I feel like that's really risky there. But we'll see, you know, he might make his way through. And I've just got the message from Will as well.
I mean, he's not wrong, let's be fair.
Was you the one who put that message in the chat?
No, absolutely.
Josh?
What do you mean? That's the official PSGL account holder saying thank you, Will, for stating a great fact. We do have confirmation on what happened to Tamas Gal. He had no force feedback and his wheelbase turned off mid-lap, so that's the reason why he's only 3/10 slower than Hugo at the minute. Something tells me that might be a slight dramatization of what actually happened. I'm sure he might have just lost a little bit of force feedback and wheel connects, and he ended up missing an apex or two.
I mean,
to only be that far away.
the thing
We
is,
know he's quick, but like, come on.
Josh, RHG, they
Come
like to help the rumours a bit, don't they? Because there's been big rumours of Tamas Gal possibly being in a Haas seat next season, and I mean, we all know as well that Jeddah, one of the first races on the calendar, it's race 4, and they put him in here to race at Jeddah. They're trying to meet the rumours a little bit without saying anything too obviously.
Well, I mean, as far as rumour quelching goes, and I for one should know very much with my position at Red Bull about how easy it is to squash rumours. Some of them are just impossible to squash, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, you know. It could only be mentioned between, let's say, the top 2-3 people, maybe one engineer at RIT.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you got League Racing News piping out the truth, and you're like, okay, right, this is brilliant. How have I found this one out? Because sometimes it's just out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And sometimes I hit the nail on the head. Sometimes we're a little way off. But the majority of the time, they're very close to the truth. So if rumours are to be stated to be true, Tamas Gal's surely going to need to find a little bit more of an improvement on his lap, or go for a last and first challenge and really try and crack down on it. But I'm excited to see what he's going to be able to do, because you know we've watched this. I want to say young man, right? Because he has started to form into that, you know, barrier. He's no longer just a kid who's racing. He is a young man. He is very talented. Think back all the way to the race clutch days.
It's a lot, yeah. I mean, the thing,
He-
even
he-
before
he
that,
was
Josh,
solid then,
Right, Josh,
and he's
before me and
solid
you
now.
knew each other, I used to commentate over Tamash. Season 30. No, season 31,
Whoa.
sorry.
30? Wow.
Season 31, that's like 2.5 years ago, and he was mid F4 at that point, mid F4, and now he's one of the best on the game, you know. But
Yeah.
one thing, you know, me and Tamash used to, you know, speak quite a lot, and the one thing he's always mentioned is having that confidence that he lacks in the race. In quali, he's perfect, you know, the lap times he can produce are brilliant, but in the race, he drops back quite quickly. You know, he seems to lose confidence and sometimes can't put all that pace together. And I think if he could put that together every race and do what he could do in quali, he would easily be a top 5 driver on the game, without a doubt.
Yeah,
But
it's what the
another
most
thing
things,
happened,
right?
Josh. We're now
No,
getting
go
to
on,
the
mate.
end points of Q1, and we do have Keanu Latour, the first one to cross the line and, well, technically take the checkered flag, but it hasn't quite gone through yet. He goes P10 with a 26.972. It's an improvement, but surely he would have liked a bit more than that to feel safe.
Yeah, just a little bit more, just a little buffer, especially considering next up across the line will be Tamas Gal, and we know what he's capable of. We know he can break into that top 5. Let's see whether he's put all the marbles in the same bag, whether he's decided to try and split him up a little bit too much. A slight tap on the wall on the exit there, but he gets the car straightened up absolutely beautifully, nailing it all the way down, keeping it over towards that left-hand side, and that's more like it from him up into the top 3. We do have the other F7R car, Reyes, finishing there in P12. I do believe that's Florian right behind him in P13. Is that Dylan? Is that Dylan? That is Dylan. He didn't get the first lap on the board. Up towards the line now. Dylan Warren on the laptop in P14. Magnificent effort, to say the least, there on the laptop. Fair play.
He's cutting that close, though. P15 now.
Closer.
Dylan Warren might be knocked out of Q1 here, because we also have Thomas Laminen heading up to the line now for TF10. And Dylan's out. Ferrari again having a Q1 elimination, and this time it goes to Dylan Warren. What about Hugo Fontbon? Stays stays in the bottom 5. He's P18, and unfortunately, Danny Van Ruyten's also has a quali, and so is Jerry Van Busselen. Alessio Di Capua couldn't get a lap time on the board, as that's going to be Lillian Debacore up into P3.
Cheeky.
Oh, and
a little bit more.
his wheelbase got loose in the middle of the S's. Oh, that is the worst place to have your wheelbase go loose.
No. I'm
and
not
the worst
sure
part
whether...
was, Josh, out of all that, Dylan Warren only got knocked out by 30 thousandths of a second.
Oh no, it's absolutely... It's something, isn't it? Especially when you consider, like, how close a lot of these drives are, especially towards that bottom end, right? You look at P13, you know, down to Hugo, is separated by 1/10 of a second.
Yeah.
It's a joke. It's just a joke.
Close,
And then you've got the complete polar opposite where you get to the front. You've got Angelo D'Ortenzio doing his best, you know, Lewis Hamilton impression of Singapore, where he just completely just clears the field, really, doesn't he? It's absolutely ridiculous. But hopefully, before the race starts, either Dylan can run out to a shop and get some super glue to glue his wheelbase back to wherever it should be, or Ferrari can drop off a quick care package of super glue, or I don't know, maybe a hammer and some nails or something to make sure it won't come loose in the S's again. But as far as things go, Nathan, I feel like this qualifying session could be closer than the championship.
It certainly could.
It looks ridiculous from here. I mean, Nelson Alves P9. Don't get me wrong. I know he retired a bit early from the session, but
he's only a tenth and a bit off the back of Jan Harday's teammate. You know, 1.5 tenths between P2 and P9, very close indeed, and that's just going to get closer heading into Q2 and Q3. So I'm very excited to see how this next session goes, and I've got to say, very surprising to see Danny knocked out in Q1 for CPI, because we normally see him in at least Q2, and unfortunately today isn't his day, or this evening isn't his evening, and he's going to be starting all the way down from P17, and it also doesn't help Ferrari, because if Dylan Warren's obviously got issues with the wheelbase and obviously having a laptop, his net's got to run 25 laps with the same thing. So Dylan Warren's day could get a lot more stressful than it already is, and I'm sure he's already stressed. So
yes,
it's not looking good.
But at the same time, he knows what the issue is. It's a simple fix, right? You've just got to find a way to get it onto some sort of stable ground.
When he says loose, that could mean physically loose, or it could also mean that maybe it's going loose in the sense of low force feedback as well.
He's confirmed it in chat, saying it was moving up and down in his rig.
Oh,
so
that is not ideal.
No, it's not ideal, but there is a very easy fix for it regarding, depending on wheelbase, to be quite honest.
What about Ferrari buying him one? Wouldn't that help?
I mean, it might help, but the problem might be the surface he's trying to put it on, which could be the error.
Could be his lap.
That's what I'm thinking. If he just puts it in between his legs and holds really tight,
I mean, he's going to have some right leg muscles afterwards, isn't he?
Yeah, it'll be like, what? I mean, it's basically a leg day at the gym, and you get to race an E-Series to win.
But Yana, I saw his rig at uni. I thought he had a rig. I thought he had the one at uni. He sent me a picture of it, and it was in that tiny room. So why has he ended up with a laptop now, or was he actually in the university building, sitting in the library? Imagine that. Oh dear me! I'll be looking there like, what the hell are you doing?
We'd have to set up a remote camera for that and just see how many awkward looks he gets. Oh, he's at home. Okay, so presumably he's left his a proper rig and PC at uni, so he doesn't have to transport it.
Should have got Yoda in racing for him.
I'm not against it.
You know,
I'll be here for that. I reckon I'd be quite. Yeah, it just engineers his own race as well. I mean, we've seen real Ferrari drivers engineer their own race. I mean, look at Carlos Sainz. He's done quite good for himself.
Charles Leclerc has to do it every week.
Yeah. I reckon Yoda's in for a shout here, you know?
Well, he used to be in F3. I mean, until
Yeah,
he
he's
got
quick.
until he got a race ban for doing a 360 at Monaco. In the race.
That's just called a little bit of pizzazz, my friend. It's all right. I wouldn't expect a slow person such as yourself to understand it, but me and Yoda, we're all
Hang on,
same
Josh,
level.
I thought I lapped you, Josh, at that Silverstone event. Or I mean,
It's fine,
passed you and you did a
because
pit.
I got disqualified. You didn't actually pass me, so we can discover that again tomorrow because we got a little commentators challenge where we're all going to be racing against each other. Nathan's rear wing will detach from its.
Hopefully,
its car.
we're going to have it streamed on here if Sappy's around. If he's not, then we won't, but we'll see.
Yeah, then you'll just hear me absolutely bragging to all heavens.
I mean,
for
we
the
didn't see
next
George
E-Series
Morgan's turn up, do we? Ashamed of being absolutely dunked on.
I mean, to be fair, you could say that about quite a lot of the commentators.
Yes, you.
Mate, I've signed up, mate.
To be fair, Josh, I'll have to give it you. You was the first person to tick yes.
Thank you. And I'm more than happy to finish P20.
Or disqualified.
No comment.
Dear me.
No
Right,
comment.
so, first laps in Q2 are underway. We have here Tamashgal heading down to the final corner. Let's see what he can do on this first run. A bit twitchy heading down to the final corner, or at least at the apex of the final corner. Heads to the line at 27.323. He's either made a big mistake or he's on used tyres. And I think we know he's probably on used tyres here. We do see Lillian go to the top there.
Yes, and Nathan, while these first laps are coming in, we've already had the first steward report of the night.
Oh, is it for Alessio Di Capua?
It is absolutely from Alessio Di Capua.
Now, listen, don't say what team it is. I'm going to look and be like, am I surprised that team reported it? Let's have a look.
No, you're not.
I'm going to have a look. Not surprised there.
It was Francie who reported it. Traditional. What can I say? There's an opportunity to get someone starting in P20, a couple of penalties. Why not hit the nail on the head? You know, it might be the holiday season. It might be everyone, you know, being loving, forgiving, and sharing. But clearly, sharing a team tag isn't on Alessio's wish list for this Christmas or this.
So is it a 1 second penalty or is it a warning for that?
To be honest, I think it depends on how many times they've done it.
Oh, okay, so I'll presume it's their first time this season, so it'll just be a warning, I think.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, that depends whether you're using a different hex code of car.
Yes, hex code of colour, yes, of the purple.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's not like... No, Josh, Ferrari didn't get that for the car. They got it for the red dot on the side of their name. That's what it was for. So someone's got a picture of the grid and just decided to colour pick the hex codes. I mean, the fact someone's noticed that with their plain eyes and thought, right, let's check it. They've got some supersonic eyes. Because I couldn't tell the difference.
I mean, I could. I just didn't want to mention it and get anyone dunked.
There we go. Classic Josh.
It was actually me who reported it. Sorry, guys.
Oh, was it? Oh, so
yeah,
you're
my
FBI
bad,
now, are you?
bad. I am, mate. I am a massive.
And Crispy does confirm it's a warning first time. Yes, of course, Crispy knows the rules.
Yeah.
He writes essays when it comes to him reporting things.
Rulebook merchant. What can we say?
Literally, yeah. Might as well join Ferrari. Who is it? What team? Is it Ferrari that didn't know the rulebook? Who was it now? I can't remember. I know there was one team, IRL, that really did not understand how the rulebook works, and they kept making mistakes.
I mean, McLaren made a car they couldn't really race.
Yes, and Red Bull cheated for the past 4 years, Josh. Your point being?
No one can read the rules, mate. What's the problem?
Oh, RAG don't have the same... Oh, wait, they actually don't. You can actually see the difference.
Oh my god, there we go. Another penalty. I want to see that little notification in the Discord. Stewards inquiries pop up in 20 seconds' time.
Same with TF10 as well.
Oh my word.
I can't see the difference there. Unless someone's actually just screenshotted it and took the hex code, then fair enough.
Mate, if they're doing that, fair play to them. That's a level of dedication.
That's what penalties have came to now. No, not on-track incidents.
Yes.
Hex code differences.
Honestly, though, at the same time, right, if they were to run two different coloured Formula 1 cars, that would be a penalty.
True. Good point.
If anything, it's another leg for F124 to stand on, an E-Series to stand on for the level of realism. Only thing now is we've got to get Kryptonite slightly more corrupt.
I mean, Kryptonite will start thinking, hang on, do I enjoy having this rule? Because it means I have to do more work. Especially
when it comes towards this time of year, of course. The last event of PSGL before we end up breaking up for the festive break.
The thing is, Josh,
it's called.
We could say, right, we'll turn stewards on for the race tomorrow, but I don't think that
No.
Crypton
No.
would end up finishing the work. I think there'd be that much to do.
Yeah, I feel like he would find it a little bit awkward writing a paragraph to me on why I'm not allowed to go over the top of another car.
Yeah.
Again, it's one of those. But we do have Riccardo Benzoni out on a lap, of course. Didn't set the lap time initially, but he's just started this one, so he's going to be looking to get himself up towards the top of the timing sheets. And given what we saw in Q1, he's up there. All right, top 5 potential.
Definitely.
I mean, I've already said TES are going to get a 1-2, so I kind of can't backtrack on that. But from everything we've seen so far, Angelo and Benza, maybe the next 2 best.
Yeah, they're going to be, surely. Especially as a team, they are probably the strongest lineup on the grid at the moment, in the sense of their raw form at the moment. So yeah, definitely going to be seeing these two at the top at the end of this race. As we do have
just not 1-2, because that.
And Josh,
that
do you
makes
want to know a fun fact? I don't know if I've already told you this, but did you know I used to be Benza's manager?
You did tell me.
Back
You
in,
told me
I
in
think
private.
QRT,
Yeah,
2 years ago.
when he got too big for you, so you had to let him go.
No, I left the team before he did, I think.
Oh, okay. So you abandoned him.
Oh, and he's gone wide. Oh, and that lap's gone. Completely gone.
And if you were still his manager, he wouldn't have done that.
Oh,
This is all
okay.
your fault.
Oh, is it?
You're supposed to be there to support him. Benza
I am.
needed you at his most vulnerable time, and you left him.
We've already had Tamash and Elia have a mistake on their laps and unfortunately
6 minutes.
invalidate. Many invalidations at the moment on their laps, as we do see Tudor Pressacan heading up to the line shortly. We'll see what he can set here for TRT, as unfortunately his teammate didn't make it ahead to Q1 and didn't make it onto the board with the lap time.
There we go. Lovely stuff. But I do just want to confirm there. The lap time Benza did do was a 26.5. Yeah, he might have cut a corner.
Was
But
it? Maybe
presumably,
shave a tenth off of it, 26.6.
yeah, to me that says it was a fresh set of tyres.
Oh yeah, definitely. If you're doing that on used tyres, I'm worried.
I mean, I'm not. I'm just impressed at that point.
Yeah.
Slightly concerned for your own well-being and slightly concerned for Krypton's even longer evening. But
Yeah, and Halliday up to the top for 6.57, and Tumas Lamanen there, only P7 there, now P8, as we do see Florian and Ray Imtiaz jump up into P5 and P6. Ali Tomasetto had an invalidation, so did, I think, Taco Hardy, Riccardo Benzoni. What about Nelson Alves? I think he also suffered an invalidation, as we do see Reece Linton go into the top there for Ray's clutch. A nice lap indeed, as Camille goes into second there for Ferrari. What about Taco Hardy here for R8G? Currently sits in P12, would surely love to jump up into that top 5 and does so with a .688. And if you remember, Josh, a couple seasons back, season 3, peak of E-Series, and this is when we had Taco Hardy racing for F7R, who were at one point top of the standings, and he also took a pole at, I think it was Spain. So Taco Hardy, you know, he's a veteran of PSGL E-Series, isn't he?
He's not only a veteran, he's a war hero. The amount of times he's been absolutely dragged through the bush backwards, his hair's been a mess, he's been absolutely, slammed to the wall, and he keeps coming out and putting in performance after performance after performance at a level of consistency which is so impressive.
Definitely is, yeah.
You've got to give him a medal, surely.
An admirable driver, that is safe to say, of course, and hopefully he's one of those who sees himself with an esports seat sometime soon. Because we're not that far away, and this is the point where drivers there have got to, if they haven't got any seats secured, they've got to start proving to the teams why they deserve a seat. In R8G, they've got a lot of drivers who can fit into that third driver status, who are all very quick on pace and all very consistent. They've got to prove why they deserve it. And Turco will surely be one of those trying to prove he can get that third seat, presumably.
Yeah, at that point, E-Series is a team championship, but how much of a team aspect do you actually take into that? Considering you might very well be competing for an esports seat for this year, next year, whatever lies in the future. Of course, iRacing special events as well, 25. A couple of these drivers might be trying to, mix it up a little bit, diversify their portfolio. You are competing against them. And there's not a nice way to put that, because if you are competing against your teammate in a team championship, do you take that George Russell angle, like you did with Robert Kubica back in the day, and go, hey, I'm here to help out, whatever's necessary, I'm more than happy to help? Or do you go for that, right, I'm massive, Liam Lawson, flip the bird, I'm going for it, goodbye, you're in the mud?
I mean, I'll go for Liam Lawson's strategy if he was in the main season, but in E-Series, you've got to play the team game. And sometimes having that teammate, mentality is a lot better than just being quick. We've seen a lot of
Absolutely.
people in the past in esports, Josh, that certainly don't deserve to be there, but have been such a good part of the team that they've got that opportunity.
Yeah, it's one of those things, right? And especially with a predicament you find RHG in currently in the U Series title race, because to be quite honest, it is a race.
Yeah, they're
what,
four.
19 points behind.
Yeah.
That could change in half a race, let alone a full race, right? Especially with the custom points we've got, where every driver gets points, everyone has a way of being able to collect something
The
out
funny
the
part
race.
is, Josh, so for winning the race, you take 35 points. The gap from first to fifth is 38. So that, it can change in a heartbeat. Just say, for example, today, TES, God forbid they don't, have a double DNF and Ferrari got 1 and 2. They'd have a 20-point lead or 20 points advantage over TES after being 5 positions below them. That's how important it is to score good points and to get wins.
It's mental. Part of me wishes Formula One took this sort of line with point scoring, because imagine it, end of the season. All right, okay, let's look at it. Leclerc has to finish what P12 to win the title, mate. All of a sudden, you're looking at the Kevin Magnusons and Nico Hulkenbergs of the world to save something here and make it a bit more of a championship fight. You would have drivers battling for every position everywhere, similar to what we see here in E-Series, where they're not happy with just finishing 14th and go for a fastest lap to stop someone grabbing an extra point. They're battling for P14, they're battling for P13, they're looking to try and make moves left, right and centre. But before they make moves, of course, have to do qualifying. 1 minute 10 left of the session. We've already got Tamash and Keanu already on their laps.
Look at the map.
Oh, no.
Keanu is just heading into turn 22 shortly. The rest of the field is heading into the final corner. Hopefully, he doesn't get too caught up here.
Yeah, ghosting is on, but let's not beat around the bush. Ghosting cars are still distracting. If you saw a half-invisible person, you'd be absolutely terrified for your life. Imagine how Keanu feels going at 200 miles an hour seeing a half-invisible car in front of him. It will change your sort of dynamic of approaching a corner, but he is here, heading into the final corner again, locking up on the left to try and get that car rotated as smooth as possible. A lovely little tap on the wall on the X. Exactly what you need to do to get the car straightened as best as possible. Left-hand side of the track. Narrows the distance down. And he moved himself up there into P8, just barely topping his teammate. And then I do believe the next car across the line will be Tamash Gal, who's on the lap.
Oh, no, it is Tamash. No, I'm wrong.
Oh,
He's
5 temps up.
Yeah, this is looking decent. So
Shaky.
he's going for
Shaky.
what?
Hello, Tamash.
A 0.8 at the moment, but of course still has to find Tom in the third sector, of course, that just being pretty much the DRS zone in one corner is pretty much his third sector. You see, heads into the braking zone, you can see just throws the car in, gets back on the power, then heads his way up to the line. We'll see what can he do here. Can he make it out of the drop zone here in Q2 to the line? He does. He tops the session for now with a 0.490, and many cars still, Josh, need to find some big improvements here.
Yeah, how many more cars, how many are going to be able to find that extra couple of attempts? Tudor won't be able to. He invalidates his lap time. Ray is next across the line. He finds a massive improvement, jumps up into P4 there for F7R. Brilliant stuff. Heading into Masetto, up into P3, and then we've got the gaggle of black and red cars. Which one's which? We'll have to wait and see as Camel Stature goes and grabs. Oh, sorry. 26-2.
Woo! What a lap.
I need to sit down. Holiday, hello. Right, okay. Seriously, what's happened? What have these guys
lap
found?
times are insane at the moment.
These guys have found out how to run 0-0 wings.
Oh, and Taco's out. He's not made it through.
Oh, my.
That's a surprise. Oh, my. RHG out in Q2, Josh.
And you mentioned before about that confidence thing that Tycho tends to struggle with when he gets to these races.
Well, that was about Tamash, but it can still apply, I suppose.
Well, I mean, realistically, it applies for all of these drivers, because...
What a lap there from Camille.
It's a joke. Yono, it was a game to stop streaming more. He reads chat too much. Get him logging in these lap times every week, mate. Absolutely phenomenal stuff there from Statura. And then again, we can't go without mentioning Angelo D'Ortenzio up there with 26-3, Gian Halliday 26-3, Tamash Gal 26-4. And again, if they just keep chipping away at these times, how much lower can we go?
Well, Q3 is about to get underway. We'll see what happens there. Will be very, very interesting. And Josh, well, we get starting Q3. I need to quickly change my Changed my game screen because for some reason I've got the wrong one on.
That's perfectly fine. We'll play Spot the Difference to everyone at home. But in the meantime, let's run you through the drivers we will have to say goodbye to here in Q2. Of course, Tycho Hardy, Tudor Prejtkan, Keanu Latour, Tomasz Laminen, and then Florian Van Zelter. Again, not ideal to go out in Q2. Of course, back in the day, you might have been able to get a free compounded tyre choice, but it's not how it works here. You guys just going to have to focus. It'll be a long race around Jeddah, DRS trains left, right, and centre. Ideally, these guys are going to be able to find themselves a little bit of an opportunity. They've just got to hope that drivers in the top 10 don't try and, squabble too much, fight unnecessarily, and lose touch of a DRS train, because especially around Jeddah, it is ridiculously strong.
I mean, the thing is, we expect a hard medium strategy here in Jeddah, and that pretty much means that if you're, well, the ultimate strategy doesn't work as well. It's quite poor. So, qualifying is very key around this track to move yourself forward, because if everybody, bar a couple of cars, is on the same tyre around a track like Jeddah, it's very difficult to make those moves. So, being in that top 4, top 5 is really beneficial and can help elevate your race a little bit more as we do head our way to the start of Q3, and where Ferrari look like they're in a position to really have a good fight for pole. But Josh,
I'm getting mental deja vu here.
Who are you going with, Josh, for pole? Who are you going to go with? Because there's many candidates here.
So, logical thing, I'll stick with what I've said before, and then I'll look like I masterminded it all, who I say one of the TES drivers. But I'm going to bail on it. It was a great prediction, but I'm feeling like there's a better one. Angelo D'Ortenzio.
Well, you know what, Josh? You go with Angelo. I'll go with Camille. Ferrari are going to be on pole today. You've heard it here
Interesting. Let's have a look at chat. Black Box, of course, Reyes. There's a potential for it. He does have a new wheel. I saw him tweet about it earlier. He is feeling it. He is loving his life. How many more of these drivers could you potentially put up there for pole? Of course, you've got both TESs
everyone
who could.
Easily.
Both the race clutches could. Thomas Seto could. Tomasz Gal could. Basically rounds out the top 10 there, doesn't it?
Definitely. Guys, let us know in the chat who do you think will take pole. Let us know. Bradley Holden was really egging up Tycho Hardy, but unfortunately he doesn't make his way through into Q3.
And then he proceeds to put in chat this track separated the elite from the very best. Bradley, way to go shoot yourself in the foot, my friend. Not ideal.
I mean, you don't retire if you don't think you're not good enough.
Well, Bradley's saying he's going to shock everyone and be on the podium.
Well, just like say Jamie Vardy's going to win the league.
Oh, he might.
Sorry, the championship. My bad.
Whoa. Let's not beat around the bush. Tottenham could sign him.
No. He's old. Even Tottenham wouldn't want Jamie Vardy now. He's an old piece of equipment.
We know what Tottenham's purchases are like, mate. Come on.
Dear me. Well,
I've built an F1 go-kart circuit at the stadium.
To be fair, have you ever been there, Josh?
No, but I've heard things. I've heard stories from there.
Good.
If I speak, I am speaking trouble.
So no, then. So
anyway,
Frenchie
moving swiftly on.
And Bradley predict Tycho for pole.
Okay. We love that. Let's keep these predictions coming in, guys. If you feel like Tycho's going to be able to grab pole position from Q2, let us know in the chat. I'm here for it. I hope he does. I hope he's able to work some magic out. Either go run in Tamash's rig and, I don't know, kick him out and race. It could be interesting. God, imagine that. Imagine if you raced in the same builder, you could just let your teammate do qualifying for you.
What, then jumping at the race?
I'm thinking Q1. You go let them do a lap. You end up, taking a breather. Go get yourself a coffee. But they end up hopping in their rig and doing the lap again.
Oh dear me, that'd be against the rules. There'd be one word for it.
But how would they know? How would they know, my friend?
Someone would say something in the end.
What? I don't know. It's too little, too late at that point, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, it is a little bit late.
Anyway.
Right, so, first lap's underway. Racing Tiazi just heading through the first sector here, heading down towards turn 13. We'll see what he can do in that first sector of 31.798. As, a little bit naughty here by the race clutch car. We've seen qualifying interference before, haven't we, Josh? And we've seen it does give you a penalty. That there was Lillian Derbycourt for FVR if they need it. No, I'm joking. No. I shouldn't have
No,
done that. Me.
let's encourage it. Let's encourage it more. Lillian, penalty, job done, brilliant. That's 3 penalties, slam dunk already. Great job. We're basically being the stewards here, aren't we?
We are, yes. So that has got. I think from what we've seen before, that's a slam dunk penalty, isn't it? If it gets reported, because
if it gets reported,
we've seen penalties come through for qualified interferences which have been nowhere near like that. So
yeah, we've seen it where there've been
again,
two.
I'm not going to sit here and hate on Lillian because let's be honest, it's just because race have gone out at a different time. Everybody else has gone out at the same time, so he's probably just not realised that race behind him was on a lap who's just set a 27.5, and now Lillian's like, oh god, he was on a lap.
Yeah, and to be fair, it wasn't even. It's not a very competitive lap time. I mean, yeah, it was a flying lap, but maybe the stewards will take a look at it and think, right, there was weaving over the start finish straight. Surely, they weren't fully sending it. Maybe we don't give a penalty. Unlike Riccardo Benzoni, who sent it a little bit too hard, invalidated his lap time, so the Veloce Academy drivers are going to have to wait again for another lap before sending it back out.
I've been watching Tamas go over this session, and I've got to say, I admire the way he drives, because compared to some, he drives so aggressively. I don't see people take the Fernando Alonso steering too much. I know it's quite quick too, but he just looks like he steers way more than everybody else. He just throws the car in, just locks the wheel to the left or the right, and it just turns. It's brilliant. So he must have some good setup under that R8G car.
I mean, it's R8G at the end of the day. They have the resources to get these setups. I mean, we see it in F1 esports. We see it, in E-Series here. We see it with individual drivers. We've got a brilliant cracking team behind the scenes to work on the setups. So it doesn't surprise me that Tamas has, full confidence underneath his car to absolutely send it any which way possible. So let's see how many more of these drivers are going to be able to set a competitive lap time. Hello. Right, Jan Halliday, I need you to pull something out of the bag here, mate, to make my original prediction correct. Just say I was just jesting with Angelo, who's currently sitting in P4, as we do have Lillian, just breaking into the 26s. How many drivers already use set of tyres, though? That's going to be my question.
I don't think many are, to be fair.
I mean either.
Because a lot of these would have retired in Q2, wouldn't they? Because a lot of these in here would have been top 5, top 6.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure we'll see.
It's going to be an interesting one.
I think quite a few are definitely on new tyres there.
Yeah.
Because if Camel's done that on a used set, I'm worried.
Mate, if he's done that on a used set, I'm phoning someone. Someone needs to do something about him. He needs to. Oh.
What?
Goodbye, LSEO. He's left the session.
Oh. Well,
it's nice having you.
Hopefully, he's not got an issue with his game.
He's fixing his game tag. That's what it is, isn't it? He's trying to be a sneaky.
I mean,
trying to fix it.
Would Connor let that slide? Is the question.
No.
Oh.
Krypton wouldn't.
True. Good point.
My steward wouldn't. My PSGL students wouldn't. They're hammered down on it. Hex code off by a single digit. Gone, mate. In the bin. It's what we love.
It is
solid
indeed.
Rules. No fans or buts. Just absolutes.
Right, so everyone's heading back into the pits now. We're going to shortly get all of them going back out again for their final runs here in the Q3 session and seeing
wait.
Who's going to take pole. What?
Nathan.
What?
You tried to pull a fast one on me.
Did I?
Who's your prediction?
I said.
Go on.
Camille.
Go on.
Camille.
Say it one more time.
Camille Stachura is my prediction
right.
for pole.
Brilliant. So we've had the commentator's curse. It is fully locked in. Camel's going to invalidate this lap. We'll be able to improve. Thank you very much, Nathan.
Yeah, but neither will anybody else. So.
No, they will. They will. They will.
All right, then we'll see. We'll see.
Riccardo Benzoni's going to find an infinite amount of time.
But he's got no lap yet, so he needs to get one on the board. And I mean that, to talk about that, it's going to be a lot of pressure on Riccardo here to get the lap in because you've got nothing to go off. You've got no delta, and you've got to set a lap time which is going to set you up for pole position. Which around here we know that being in that top 5 really helps because it's so hard for cars behind to overtake.
Yeah, but Benzoni's been in that position, right? He's already been in that position in this qualifying session. He's already had invalidations. He's just gone out again. He's playing a lap time, 1/10, 2/10 around his teammate, either in front or behind. It doesn't really matter. Because, although we talk about how strong qualifying is, nothing will ever beat a 2v1 on track. I hate to say it, and it might sound a little bit boring, But if you've got Jan Holiday and Nelson Alves behind you, they have so many more opportunities to play games with you, to force you to burn your battery, to force you to go defensive, when they have no intention of overtaking you. They just want to mess with you. They just want to be able to waste your time, waste your tyres, waste your battery, and then get the easy pickings at the end of a race. That's the ultimate goal for a lot of these teams.
And a lot of the time it works, to be fair.
Yeah, it absolutely does. Unless we talk about Kota last season. But let's not mention that. It's okay. Race Clutch currently sitting P3, P7. There's room to work there. They've got opportunities. TS, both P2 and P4. Opportunities work there. Same can be said with Loche Academy. Benza gets a lap time on the board. Currently P5, P10, but still a lot of room to work. And that's the most valuable thing, is that you have that opportunity to work with your teammate.
It is.
If you end up qualifying down in the bottom 50, bottom 5, and your teammate, for example, like Camille and Dylan at the minute, that's going to be awfully hard for you to be able to work together. You're going to need a miracle.
They can't do much at all to work together at that point. Dylan's just going to try and work his way up the field as quick as he can and see if he can try and get involved in something at the end. But one team that can really work together well, if this qualifying ends how it is at the moment, is TES, sitting P2 and P4. That could really put them into some team games here, going into the 25-lap race at the Jeddah Corniche circuit. And of course, Jan Halday's the first one to go out, and behind him will be Tamas Gal, who's looking to also try and take pole position here for RHG's teammate. Tygo Hardy got knocked out in Q2, and we'll start from P11. So Tamas Gal here would certainly like to jump up to the top and help RHG score some more points. Of course, they sit around 30-ish points off the leaders of the championship, being TES. So a pole position here, 35 points. That'd be more than brilliant here for RHG.
Absolutely, but same can be said for both TES, RHG, the Loche, Race Clutch, and Ferrari as well. All of them are battling out for that pole position because, of course, goes without saying, if you get pole position, you're in a great chance to go win the race. Of course, you're going to need some things to go right towards the end of a race for you, but you put yourself in that position, and you put yourself in that position to make the most of the opportunity. That's all you could ever do. Sometimes it is out of your control, but one thing which is in every driver's control out of these top 10 is what they're going to be able to do here for the final lap of qualifying, as we see Jan Halliday slaughtering that first sector. Absolutely malicious intent over the curbs. He knows exactly what to do, and he's almost found a 10th for that first sector alone. Brilliant stuff so far from Jan. Let's see how much more he's going to be able to eke out of his lap time.
Yeah, so up by 75 thousandths in the first sector, so already enough here to try and take that provisional pole position away from the Ferrari, but of course still 2 sectors to go here, so looking decent for Jan Halliday at the moment as he heads his way through the DRS section in towards the high-speed chicane here at turn 22. 3 and 4, he's up by just shy of a 10th of a second here, so looking to be around a high point 2, a low point 3 at the moment. As Camille won't improve because of an invalidation, so he's got no more that he can do in this session here. He's just got to hope that others don't find those vast improvements. What can Jan Halliday do here for TES as he heads his way up to the line? Will it be provisional pole position for TES? Yes, it will. A .331 here for Jan Halliday as Tamas Gal goes even quicker. He goes to the top. Nelson Alves goes even quicker. He goes up to provisional pole position. And we've still got many cars, though, yet to set a lap. Elliot Tomasetto won't improve. He stays P8. Ray Imtiaz goes into P7 there for FBR. Camel won't find an improvement. Ricardo Benzoni can't go higher than P6. But what about Angelo D'Ortenzio as Lillian Debecourt goes up into the top 5 for Race Clutch? Can Angelo take that pole position away? He's looked strong all of the 3 sessions to the line. Yes, he can! Yes! The Loche Academy are on pole with Angelo D'Ortenzio. What a lap to jump up to the top of the timings.
Last driver to cross the line. Every millisecond
Look at the
of
gaps,
an advantage
Josh.
there. That is ridiculous. 0.011, 0.013. My word, these drivers absolutely on the limits around this Jeddah Corniche circuit in Saudi Arabia. But as far as things go, it might be a bit of a what-if scenario for Camille. Could they potentially be in with for a battle for pole? I personally think so. Race Clutch starting P6, P7. Camille will have their work cut out heading down into turn 1. It might be a little bit tight, but as far as things go, TES, surely you would put your bets on to try and win this, considering how close that top 4 is.
Yep, indeed. As Yoda says Camel should start P1 as his Q2 lap was faster than Pole. Which it was, wasn't it? A .299
Yeah.
is what Camel achieved in Q2. And I mean, just say Camel didn't find that invalidation, what could he have been capable of into this session? Because it could have been a really good lap indeed. And Josh, of course, we have our mandatory restart as usual. So we're going to have a quick word from our sponsors at GT Omega. And welcome back, everyone. Josh will be back with us shortly as we just get ready for our restart here for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. And still, my camera, when I zoom in, when I change tabs, for some reason it still decides to zoom in. Don't know why. So we're just going to keep ourselves onto the game screen and not swapping over. I don't like it changing. Right, Josh, you're a bit too late, so we're already on.
No,
Welcome
I'm here,
back.
mate. I'm prepared. I had to go get my helmet because this is looking like it's going to be a bit of a disaster class. It's a helmet, my friend.
Oh.
Have you ever seen a helmet before?
That's a bit weird.
Right, don't insult my helmet, right? I've come here to protect myself from a commentator's curse, right? Because I don't want this race to end up falling into a terrible position, right? If I wear a helmet, everything's going to be fine. That's what F1's taught me.
Has it?
Yeah. Do you think Roman Grosjean would be okay if he didn't wear a helmet?
No.
No, exactly. So you wear a helmet, everything works out perfectly.
But Josh, you're meant to actually have the helmet on and not just balancing on your head. Why are these two still driving? Come on, guys, retire.
Mate,
No
it's
one
TES
cares.
Mastermind. It's Mastermind, mate. It's what we're planning.
I'm interested to see what Alessio Di Capra does in this race because he didn't get a lap in Q1. He had 18 minutes to do so.
Yep.
So
but
he's going to be an interesting one going into this race, I reckon.
Would you not say the weight of expectation is now lowered for Alessio?
I suppose so because he's got nothing to work to, has he?
Yeah, exactly. He's already started at the back. He didn't even get a lap time in qualifying. That's kind of a bit of slack, right? I mean, he comes out P12. All of a sudden, we're talking about him. It's a phenomenal drive, brilliant stuff. He made 8 positions. Wasn't even there in qualifying, and he was able to absolutely pull a miraculous recovery out of nowhere.
It's possible, more than
maybe
possible.
that's what he's going for. And to be fair, wouldn't blame him.
But he's a man of experience. You know, he knows what he's doing when it comes to race scenarios. He's been here for years. I think he was in esports, like I said, in 2020, but even before that as well, like 2017, 2018, I think he took part in some competitions. So
yeah,
definitely
he's been about.
Yeah,
we'll say that
definitely.
much.
Yeah, it's just unfortunately not been in that. Not being here that much in these last couple of years.
Yeah, but it is lovely to see him back, as well as so many returning names, both on the grid and, of course, in the chat as well. Both YouTube and Twitch. It's lovely to see so many of you guys get yourselves involved, give predictions, be a little bit cheeky, have a little bit of fun. It's what we're all here for at the end of the day. Don't get us wrong. We can take you serious as we want, right? Because at the end of the day, these guys are competing for some very, valuable funds. Yeah, it all adds up, right? But at the same time, it is E-Series. It is PSGL. There are community teams involved. They're looking to get experience. They're looking to have fun. They're looking to be able to, explore ways of being able to somewhat exasperate how well they can work together in unison. And sometimes that will be by driving 2, 3, 4 wide. It's one of those. It's going to be interesting. I personally want to see, what is potentially available for, a couple of those teams where, they might not necessarily get a rubber green. And they might need a little bit of help here and there, just try and muster up something a little bit extra from whatever, they're currently dealing with. Because, don't get me wrong, single divisions are great. The F2, F3, F4, brilliant, right? We see the drivers race for themselves. But here, it adds a bit of a dynamic, it adds a bit more of a ballpark, and it's a lot more comparable to what F1 sim racing is, because they do have to work together in teams in that as well.
Yeah, they have to do a lot of teamwork here in the E-Series, especially if you're fighting at the top of the time, top of the standings, top of the timings, like TES have been doing all season. They've got to rely heavily on teamwork over their races because without it, there's cases where they probably wouldn't get that double podium or that, like we saw them get a 2-3 in in Abu Dhabi round 1.
No,
Without working together and using
Mate.
that DRS swap, they wouldn't have got it. Canada as well, they did have that double podium until Nelson got a penalty, but also there, without the working together, they wouldn't have got that 1 and 3 provisionally, would they?
no, absolutely not. But I will just say, mate, can we not spoil the script of Saudi Arabia? We're supposed to follow it, not read ahead.
Yeah, I'm
Can't believe
sorry.
you, man. Can't
I
believe
mean,
you. But you
if
are,
I predict
you are
it,
getting.
Josh, if I predicted them to get 2-3, who's going to win the race?
I mean, it's clearly the driver who I predicted to get pole position, who successfully got pole position.
Who?
Angelo Di Rotenzio,
Did
my
you?
friend.
Oh, did you pick Angelo? I thought you picked Jan.
No, mate, I picked TES before qualifying even started.
Ah,
When it comes to Q3, I know Angelo had it in the bag. But race-wise, I can see TES getting 1-2. I'm going to go back on everything I just said.
I mean,
TES 1-2
it's
in the race. I'm
possible
sticking with it.
because they are P2 and P4.
Yeah.
They are going to be able to work together here more than the other two can. So,
I mean, think about last time we were here. 2 teammates started up front. Declan Barrett, Tom Manley.
yeah, and they won by
Breezed it,
10
mate.
seconds, was it?
Breezed it. 12.4 seconds or something ridiculous they won
It
by.
was mad. And, well, unfortunately, for some reason, one of the drivers isn't here, and that is Mr. Dylan Warren.
It's all right. NVIDIA's NVIDIA
What's happened
gameplay,
this
shadow
time? Let's
play.
have a look.
It's
What's happened
NVIDIA.
this
I can
week?
guarantee it. The brother's got a vendetta against NVIDIA. But it is lovely to see you guys getting, I mean, especially yourself, Nathan's getting a lot of love over in the Twitch chat.
Let's have a look.
Mate, you've got a fan
Lennox,
base.
Alex, and E. Walker, all from
Start
the.
selling some merch.
They're all. Oh, wish I had any. What merch would I even go for?
I don't know.
Sponsors my
You'd probably
fans.
find some Will Gibson hate merch or something.
Yes, probably good idea. But yes,
That's
Alex
not an
and
idea.
E. Walker are fellow friends over on the SRL on Williams Esports, which unfortunately aren't taking part here this season, Josh, and they have been every season until now. So
Yeah,
it's a big shame.
intimidated. They know TES was coming.
Nathan is the commentator, Joshua. I bet you are all right yourself.
Oh, right. Okay, right. Cheers, that one, guys. Appreciate it. Let me know when your team actually signs into E-Series again. I'll take your comments seriously.
Well,
Anyway.
he's in his team. He's actually taking part in the event.
Oh, okay. My bad.
He's part of a
When the team you
college.
support signs up with E-Series, I'll care.
Well, Josh,
but
nothing
yeah,
means
come on.
nothing means he
Come on.
supports Williams.
Well,
Because
maybe you
his
should.
team,
Maybe
is
you
his
should.
college, Josh.
Well, maybe you should support Williams. You might be able to get a couple of extra benefits in the Williams Racing League.
Student
that's what I'm
Racing
saying.
League.
Yeah, get a couple extra.
Oh,
You wear a
dear.
little Williams shirt, they'll knock a couple people in front of you, give them a couple penalties, drop back.
Give you some extra
Give yourselves a better
points.
shot. Yeah, well, I mean, they might do. I never know. As Dylan's getting a bit antsy in the chat.
What's he saying now?
Yeah, I can't read that one out on stream, my friend. That's not exactly the way forward.
Oh,
Yeah. Dylan's not had a great day. But it's okay, because tomorrow's always going to be better, and that's what we look forward to. Right. I can't even respond to what you put there as well.
Dear me. Right, so Dylan's back in. We're seeing people slowly readying up, so something tells me that we're getting closer to that point
don't
where
trust
we
it.
can start the race. But
No.
I hope we don't have another
No,
situation where we load in
no.
and have to restart again, because that has happened many times before, hasn't it, Josh?
Yes, because drivers are eager beavers. They love readying up before anyone tells them to ready up. Next thing you know, you've got 10 of them doing it, you've got 12 seconds left, and then it ticks down, and then all of a sudden everyone's like, oh, we're started, let's all ready up. And then you get chucked into the lobby. As I can see, everyone's now immediately unreadied. Thank you. Please, can we wait for Tamash? There's no pressure on him. He can
Some
take his
people
time. Because, of
don't
course,
wait, do they? Some people don't like waiting.
no. It's understandable. You want to get on with the race. You want to be able to just race. But at the same time, do you want to race in random group positions? No.
I mean,
not
some
really.
people would say yes, because I think that would be very interesting.
I feel like it would be an absolute travesty.
Do you know what I
if
reckon we should
ended
do,
having
Josh?
No.
The final race
No,
of the
I don't-
season should always be a reverse grid.
I feel like it should. I genuinely, if we were going to do something like that, final race of the season, reverse championship standings.
Yes.
So you've got all the
Ooh,
cars in
yes.
synchronized, make it 100% race as well, make them proper feel it. Oh,
Interesting.
oh, that could be something. But in other news, we do have our lobby host,
Yes.
very kindly, out of his day, out of his own time, has decided, hey, we need a lobby host. It'll be me. Tamash Gal, VRHG legend, has finally been able to sort out the grid. He's readied up. So hopefully, in a matter of moments, we'll be getting back towards a beautiful racing screen so you can hear a little less yap and a little more on track, which is what we always tend to go for. But sometimes we do get a bit carried away.
We do. And we now
But,
head our way in. Josh, we've got 25
Yes.
laps of racing ahead of us. What a night this could be. I mean, I'm going to say this now. Do you think there will be a safety car? Because they are turned on, of course. What do you think there will be?
Oh, right. Okay.
So, I mean, I'm going to go for a safety car within the first 6 laps.
You know what? There's a couple drivers, if they was on this grid. I'm not going to mention names, but there would be a safety car within the first 6 laps.
We'll see. We'll see then. Maybe.
But
What?
for these drivers on the grid, no. There will not be
Oh.
a single safety car. Everyone's going to be very nice. Everyone's going to be very official. Drive
Right then, there we
perfectly.
are. So Josh expects no safety car. I expect one within the first 6 laps. Guys, let us know in the chat. Do you expect any safety cars
Come
in
on.
the
I want
first
to
laps on this race?
Come on. Give us predictions. We got Rekaz Racing saying I think there'll be at least 2 safety cars.
Oh, it's
It's
possible. I mean,
bold.
listen, if there's one safety car, there's more than likely going to be more than one because it shows people aren't here to mess around, and that if needs be, people will be pushed into walls at full force. I mean, if Otis Lawrence was here, we'd have a safety car after turn 4 because for some reason he can't take that corner properly ever. He just
I mean,
hits the inside.
you know,
hits the
I
inside wall.
wasn't going to mention names, but if you're dropping Otis and you do you. Linus in YouTube is saying someone will solo bin it in turn
Pretty
3.
much Otis, yeah.
Maybe. We got Alex saying someone dies in turn 3. Right.
Right, Josh.
We're just going to have to hold our breath until turn
I'm
3.
going to give you the pleasure to take the first few laps. To take the first few laps? No, you're not going to be that. I'm not going to be that greedy. You can take the first. Take the first few corners.
I'll take the first 25 laps. Thank you very much, Nathan. It's what I've been waiting
I'll
for
sit
all
back
day.
here then and do nothing. That's fine.
Yeah, go back to camera work. Yeah, buddy. We got Penguin Victoria in the Twitch chat as well saying maybe instead of doing a who wins prediction, I should have made a how many safety cars prediction over in the Twitch. Of course, both we are streaming on YouTube and Twitch. So guys, feel free to hop in between. Make sure you get both parts of the conversation. But we are here now and the red lights are turning on. Believe it or not, we've got 5 already on your screen. That'll very quickly turn to 0 and we have the race underway with Angelo there getting a very solid start on the hard compounded tyre. But Nelson Alves had an electric one over on the medium set with Jan Halliday both opting for that medium compounded tyre. Let's keep an eye out on how many more of these drivers can make moves. Jan Halliday all the way up there into P3, battling with Tamash Galley. He's got that move sorted. Tamash now sinking back down into P4. Majority of cars here. I don't want to jinx it already, guys, but everyone's made it through turn 3 safely. Brilliant stuff. But now it's going to be all about how many of these drivers are going to be able to keep touch with it, the DRS, because of course after lap 1 it opens, Nathan, and then that's where we're going to see these drivers really start pushing it and trying to make these moves. With that being said, Danny Van Routen down in P16, he's already looking to try and go for a little bit of a cheeky move, a little bit of wheel hooking there with Florian Celta. There we go, lovely stuff. Got it out eventually, but he's looking to try and get a couple moves. He's had to pay the ultimate price, and now Jerry's been able to overtake him there. So a little swap for him there for the CPIs. I'm not sure that was intended, but along with a couple of ventriloquism examples from myself, relatively clean start.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Dylan Warren's dropped back to P19. So not been the best start here for Dylan Warren at all, as we do see. Jan Halliday here looking to make a move easily ahead of Angelo D'Ortenzio and jumps up into P2, and something tells me that TES are doing what they've done before, which is go for that alternate strategy, which nobody else does, and somehow make it pay off. That's the plan here for TES, and this might work and they could get a 1-2, but they could also make this not work and it fail and they finish like P5 and P6 or something. So lots of risk involved here for TES, but they do say the best ones are the ones that like to take risks and try something different. Which we do see here, Ray Imtiaz just looking to close up on the back of Riccardo Benzoni, who of course had a bit of a poor start here for VA. Started P6 I think and dropped back to P8.
That's okay, because there's room to grow. Both race clutches are in front of him. Whatever teamwork they do, he can try and follow himself through, because of course, let's not forget, you've got a car around you, you can share a little bit of battery deployment with. Everyone's happy. Everyone can sit back, recharge the battery a little bit. But considering this entire train, it looks like it's all going to stay very well intact unless we end up getting a couple cheeky moves, such as from Tomasz Lamanen, who went down to the inside of a banked corner, trying to get past Keanu Latour, but unfortunately wasn't able to make it move. But he's all over back at Keanu. He's not letting up at all. The FER driver's doing everything he possibly can to try and hold on to that P13. As far as things go, though, TES looking like they're feeling pretty comfortable. A little switcheroo there for the lead, trading that battery deployment. But they can look as comfortable as they want, as comfortable as they ever want. And they've always got Angelo, who's going to be hounding them each and every lap. When those mediums hit that cliff point, they're going to be in a world of trouble. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah, certainly. As we do see here, Dylan Warren looking to try and get past Hugo Fontbon, but couldn't quite find a move. As we do also see here, Elliot Tomasetta on the back of Ray Cintias heading down to turn one, as we do see Enhardate retaking the lead, and Elliot looking to try and jump into the P top 9 ahead of Ray Cintias, but can't quite make the move into turn 1 for now. Just stays in P10. Further back, what's happened there? As Florian Fansdelt has dropped all the way to the rear of the field. Must have got caught up in an incident somewhere, as we do see Alessio Di Capua now looking to close in on Keanu Latour, who's also dropped back.
Maybe a little bit of a kerfuffle between those two, but as far as things go, Keanu Latour, he knows he's got the pace to be able to keep it up and around the top 10. Very similar thing can be said for Florian. Now the question is, how's Alessio going to deal with this? Because before now, just had Dylan Warren in front of him. Now he's got a car in front of him and a car behind him. Of course, we said already, expectations not necessarily the highest for Alessio after not setting a lap in qualifying in 18 minutes. Believe it or not, me and Dave can lap this circuit in 18 minutes. Maybe. On a good day, to be quite honest with you. Maybe regular corner cutting on as well. And a Red Bull 2010. But that was besides the point, right? Okay, we're slow. We get it. For me, Alessio, I think he's just got to keep himself clean here. Yeah. I think that's going to be the main goal of his race. Keep himself clean, keep himself within a DRS train, and be able to try and pick off drivers whenever they end up getting boxed in or end up having an issue. Exactly as he's done there against Keanu, who ended up getting too close to the rear of Dylan Warren. Had to lift on the corner exit. Beautiful stuff. Up into P18. He's already said
he's nearly spun and somebody collects that. That was a scary moment. He nearly made a move on Dylan Warren, but I think it was more breaking a bit late there at turn 27, and unfortunately drops to the back of the field.
Yep, no more praise there for Alessio. I commentated curse that one. It's my bad, Tannum. Sorry, guys. Right,
we go again. Lillian Derbycourt here in the top 6. Race Clutch looking to score decent points with a P6 and P7. I mean, I think it'll be more points than what Ferrari will score, P5 and P17 at the moment, so it's not looking too shabby here for Race Clutch in terms of wanting to try and catch up, but TES with a provisional at the moment, 1-2, really does help those, keep extending that championship lead. At the moment it's around 12 points, I think, 13 points to Veloce Academy, so it's not that close at all when it comes to the gap, so they've really got to try and capitalise when they get a good position like this here.
So, I don't want to already start bringing it up, but I feel like it's only fair considering TES are currently sitting in a 1-2 and might need a little bit of commentator's
chaos. And Josh has lost the 1 second gap. Now that's critical for everyone P8 and below now.
So surely he's just going to have to let Racing Tiaz by and hope that it's going to be a little bit of a slingshot. He's gone for that right-hand side to give Reyes a slightly better line on the inside to try and help slingshot himself, but it doesn't seem like it's worked. And of course, now he's going to pick up DRS. So this is the first split in the DRS train. A critical moment of a race. It was going to happen sometime. Didn't think it would be this soon here, as we are seeing on display here TES defending as a unit. Going too wide into turn 1, making it very difficult for Angelo. But Angelo, he's more than happy to keep on. And he's more than happy to try and chip away as we've got a huge spin for Kamil Stadgerer.
Oh my! Elliot Thompson also hit him heading through. He didn't ghost, and unfortunately Elliot and Tycho both get penalties now. They'll get removed. But Josh, that woke me up, that's for sure. I mean, I was settling in thinking, you know what? It's going to be a first... it's going to be interesting these first few laps, but oh my, we get hit with a penalty. And Alessio Di Capua gets a drive-through. But no, we get hit with a safety car, and you know what? It's not an actual safety car, it's only a VSC. But
so it doesn't count.
That classes as my safety car before lap 6 because Josh, on the official count of 3 per race, a virtual safety car ticks one off the list, so it counts.
Absolute raucous. Utter woke nonsense, mate. No chance. No chance. As Max correctly says,
Oh,
they can't
no!
remove it because it's a
It's a
stop-go.
shame.
Is it a stop-go or a drive? Stop-go, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not a drive-through.
They serve
Yeah.
it in the pits. Oh, that's a big shame.
Well, we're back to racing, and Angelo D'Ortenzio has got himself a brilliant run on the back of Jan Halliday here. Of course, DRS isn't open, but you don't need a DRS when you've got perfect slipstream and a lot of DRS to deploy. Real question is, when are they going to try and make a move? We do see Lillian Derbicourt in the background trying to shake a leg on Tamas Gal, but it's not quite there at the moment. But they are going to be heading across the DRS line now. DRS is going to be wide open, and Angelo looking hungry on the offensive. Currently sitting P3. Will he be able to break into this TES 1-2? He can't, unfortunately, heading down into turn 1. Not enough space there. And we should also mention the gap now with Reyes, 2.5 seconds. It's grown completely because Camille had that spin and Reyes had to react. And then it's somewhat backed them all up a little bit here. Unfortunate for Reyes, but now we do have this clear top 6, which will be battling for podiums and the win throughout the race, the rest of this race.
I'm looking in the chat and people sort of seeing, you know, it's Cody's fault that they got penalties. But to be fair, you can't blame Codemasters for that because someone did make a collision with a car on track. So the game will class it as that. And I mean, it's not the game's fault because the issue is it can't, like, no game is going to be possible of being able to judge an incident with the steward's view. Do you know what I mean? Like, it just notices heavy contact and boom, penalty. The only thing that Coders could do to fix that would be giving someone an in-session penalty remover. But it's not going to happen, is it? So I wouldn't say on this occasion you can blame Cody's because every racing game does the same thing. iRacing, ACC.
Yeah, great example. Those of you who do iRacing, as we do see TS go too wide, once again into the final corner, but this time, Angelo has squirmed his way in between them. Maybe we are seeing these medium tyres not feel as comfortable as they initially did, as we do see Elliot Tomasetto and Tycho Hardy now having a battle of penalties, it could be said, as they're looking to try and reconnect with the DRS train in front. But as I mentioned, as we do see them just jostling it back out in position, falling back into line. iRacing, for example, right? How many times have you had a person absolutely just rear-end you and you get an X4?
Exactly.
It happens all the time.
Yeah, it's such a hard thing to kind of get correct in a game.
Yeah, and then we look at Gran Turismo. How many times have you been pushed off circuit and had a slow down penalty for corner cutting?
Axel, the reason why you can't is who would you give the permission to? Because you couldn't give it to a spectator because that could be used in bias, couldn't it?
Absolutely. It's one of hello, cheeky.
Jan there tapping his teammate.
Behave. I understand we're trying to brake check each other to try and get a teammate through, but let's not brake check around Jeddah. We've had enough of that in the past. Please, everyone, behave.
Certainly is Tamashka there having a big slide heading through the exit of that second chicane. But yeah, you can see Angelo is just kind of trying to get in there and just disrupt this, you know, comfortability that Tess have in a 1-2 position. They just want to disrupt it as we head our way through here. Of course, Angelo looking to push hard, of course, has a lot of battery to use. So does Jan Halliday here as we head our way down to turn 27. Jan's going to take the lead, and clever here by Tess to try and block the road, but nothing much they can do because Angelo just pushes Jan ahead and takes that second place as they head into the final corner here. As we do see further back, Tycho Hardy having a battle here with Tumas Laminen and Tudor Pressakan for P10, and also Jerry Van Bussel wants to get himself involved as they head their way down to turn 1. Angelo D'Ortenzio takes the lead, and we do see Lillian Derbicourt as well closing in on the back of Tamashka. We've got battles everywhere you look here.
We love a little bit of a scrap here, don't we, at Jeddah? Brilliant to see. Up and down the field, everyone's giving it hell for leather, looking to try and find any opportunity possible to be able to make the most of their situation. As we do have Mirko Soriano saying, war game. Absolutely agree with you, mate.
Welcome,
Wouldn't
Mirko.
want it any other way. Beautiful to have you in, Mirko, as well. We missed you.
We need to get him back in, don't we? I'm sure he's still part of TRT.
Yeah, get him in. Get him racing. Beautiful to see. Get him in there.
I mean, then again, I do understand him taking time off because I would also take time off. I've driven the game for the first time in a long time, and I thought, God, how do these people play this game for a whole year? Because I certainly couldn't.
It takes something, doesn't it? It takes, you know, a great level of patience. Ooh, hello, cheeky. Lillian now opting towards that left-hand side. Of course, it'll turn towards the inside of the upcoming braking zone, but unfortunately getting squeezed out a little bit and a slight bit of contact there with Tamas Gals. Now we've got Lillian fully sending it. Oh, my word. What is going on? Nelson Alves now looking so vulnerable. Down the DRS straight. Here we go. Tamas Gal on the inside. A little bit of wheel hooking. Right, Krypton, knock that one down. Lap 8 up the back straight with DRS. Penalty for RHG. Lovely stuff. Great. We've already hit 4 penalties here, guys. Let's keep it going. Well, as far as things go for close racing, my word, this is ridiculous. As Nelson does correctly die. I don't blame him. I do not blame him, because if you think how much time all these guys are losing from, you know, a very late sentence from Lillian, let's be quite frank there, and, you know, risky fights, battling left, right and centre. If you get an opportunity to pick, get a little bit of clear air, why not? Go for it. Those mediums, they're not going to last.
Isn't it, Josh? That was a big send in towards turn 22, and I mean, to an effect, I suppose it paid off because Nelson pitted so he gets a position, but probably, you know, not in the way he would have wanted to, but it could have paid off heavily. He could have jumped ahead of Hamish as well, but just couldn't quite do it as we head our way down to turn number 13 once again, and still, it's Angelo D'Ortenzio. That leads ahead of Jan Halliday, who I presume will also be pitting quite soon.
I mean, it makes the most sense, right? There's 11 seconds between Nelson and Florian, who's yet to pit. So they've got a lot of opportunities there to trade with DRS, work together in an efficient, effective manner. And kind of let Angelo, Tamash, Lillian, and Reese all somewhat squabble for it. But do really quickly want to point out, Riccardo Benzoni, welcome back into the battle for the lead, my friend. And you've brought along with you Reyes, Elia Tomasetto, Tycho Hardy, and the rest of the grid. It's a pleasure to have you all back in this brilliant opportunity to battle.
How have they got this gap back? Because it was 3 seconds nearly at one point. It's now 4/10, as we do see as well further back. Tycho Hardy looking to go around the outside of Elia Tomasetto. It's going to be close as they head their way down to turn 1. Jan Halliday makes his pit stop in the Grand Prix, so we'll go on to a set of the hards and take those all the way to the end. And now it leaves all of our hard runners together to fight, and we'll see which one of them, which ones of them will be the ones to fight for the lead once they pit later on and face the 2 TES cars.
Now, at this point, you know, I'm somewhat dubbed the term track mate, right? They're not your teammate, you just share the track with them and you want to work with them. The best of your abilities. Surely at this point, everyone just, hey, guys, listen, TES are an auto strategy. We don't want them to get a 1-2. Let's all work together, as Angelo correctly gives us a little wiggle before heading into the banked corner. Just to let Tamash know, hey, let's try and work together. Real question is Tamash even interested? I suppose we'll have to find out, won't we?
We'll see what happens here then. Will he go and take the lead? Because, I mean, why not? Just swap DRS with the leader. That helps you race a lot, doesn't it? You know, if you just stay behind, Lillian will go, yep, I'll go through, thank you very much, bye. So,
and it just creates more racing, you lose more time overall to Jan and Nelson, who are within DRS of each other, who will be trading it backwards and forwards each and every lap to try and close in.
Oh, Ellie went off the track completely. Went off the track. Tumas went through to get ahead of Tycho Hardy. Sorry, that being Tudor Prasakan, sorry, who's in P10. So I think Elia and Tudor made some contact heading in towards turn 22. Tudor comes straight back at Elia in towards the final corner, and now we can see the 2 CPI cars looking to try and benefit off this as we head our way down to turn 1. Danny Van Reyten looking to try and get past 2. Jerry Van Bussel makes it 4 wide, heading into turn 1. And Jerry Van Bussel into P9 gets ahead of his teammates and also ahead of Tudor Prasakan as we head our way through turn 2 and 3. Down to turn 4. It's 3 wide into turn 4. That's not going to end well. Oh, and that's Danny Raid. He hits the inside wall and somehow doesn't lose that front left wheel.
I don't. Oh no. Oh, Crimson, I'm so sorry, mate. It looks like you're going to have a no winter break at this straight with everything which is happening. I'm fairly confident it was Will looking at everything there from all the drivers trying to get into there with one another. Fortunately, no safety car. Otherwise, could potentially be looking at TS pulling off a recovery drive from the back of the field. But with that being said, rest of the front of the field, they're all keeping it in unison. They're not really looking to try and make moves in any particular rush, are they? But
just look in the chat, Josh. I noticed says, what have I just seen? 4 wide, turn 4. I mean, Danny made it through turn 4 wide with just a broken front wing, but you went through there alone and lost your front wheel. Otis.
Oh, right. Come on. Let's
in like 3 occasions as well.
Come on. Let's not slam it on Otis. Come on. Come on. He's a young man. He's got a lot to learn. He's getting there. He's realised now he's got to take that corner with a little bit more caution. It's in fact all these drivers will have to learn, right? You can't take corners 4 wide around Jeddah. Sounds very obvious, but in the heat of the moment, you're not paying attention to those red arrows. You're looking, Left, right. Okay, right, brilliant. There's a couple arrows. That's fine. We're 3 wide. We're 2 wide. It doesn't matter. And then all of a sudden, you look, you're getting squeezed into the wall, and basically your entire front of the car has decided to pop off.
Pretty much, yeah. And I'm going to say, though, it's been a brilliant drive here by Dylan Warren. He's somehow
It
up in
has.
P10.
Top 10.
Yeah, brilliant.
Mate, he's flying. He's absolutely flying. Someone's giving him a Red Bull. He's got wings. Probably can't say that, can I? Because he's a Ferrari driver. But nevertheless, he's looking to try and hunt down Tudor Proshkan. Then try and crack down that 2.5 seconds to Tomasz Laminen, which is an almighty task. But I feel like if we've seen anything from Dylan Warren in the past, if there's a driver which has the opportunity to do so, it'll be Dylan.
Yeah,
he just finds it, doesn't he? He
does.
finds his
I mean,
opportunities.
the amount of times I'll speak to Dylan before a race, and he'll go, "Yeah, I've got no pace today. I did one valid lap out of 15." And I'm like, "Oh, all right then. So that means you're going to win." He's like, "No, I'm not going to win." And I'm like, "You are." And then he just pulls off a podium or something. I remember that at Monaco, that one season when he went from like last to first in the wet, and he went, "Nah, my pace is terrible." Yeah, but mate, you made positions in the wet at Monaco.
I've not practiced. I'm really slow around here. Proceeds to get through into Q3 and he's like two thousandths off pole position. You're like, all right, Dylan, I'm not believing a single thing you tell me ever again. But we do have our first hard compound tyre runner, other than Keanu Little, who pit earlier on in the race. Diving into the pits, and of course it'll be Tycho Hardy leading the way from these hard compound runners, trying to get a cheeky undercut. Lap 13 out of 25, past the halfway point.
I hate to disrupt you, but he's not going to get much of a cheeky undercut with a 10-second penalty to serve, is he?
He can. Believe. Safety car.
True. Good point.
Nathan, you said you got the controls to monitor penalties and safety cars.
No, I wish I did.
Push it. Push a button.
Yeah, change the cameras.
Gonna make Jeddah 24. Yeah.
Oh, dear me. I mean, Josh, you're the last person to talk about AD21, aren't you?
I didn't mention AD21. You did, my friend. I do, but I didn't mention it. You did. And let's be quite honest here. If we ended up having control over penalties, for example, and safety cars, the amount of times one of us would just go, "Yeah, okay, it's been a bit boring. Let's put a safety car out there."
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, make them all pit.
Exactly. Put everyone pit. Last 5 laps, soft compound tyre run. It's like an F2 sprint race.
Right,
Job done.
So I'm looking here at the gaps. So TES have a 6.9 second gap ahead of Tudor Proshkan, who was like what, P10. So he was around at the time before he pitted about what, 5. There's a gap between, I'd say, around 5 seconds between TES and Tudor. It's 7 now, so he's gained a couple of seconds here. But the question is, are TES going to be affected by having that extra tyre wear? Because yes, don't get me wrong, after 6 or 7 laps, those mediums will drop back. But how many laps are those mediums going to get where they can
double
just
stack,
push up?
double stack. Ricardo Vanzoni's just got double stack behind Reece Linton.
Oh, he actually has again. Oh my, again for Veloce Academy. I mean, that's
all
happened to them 4 races in this championship. That's happened to them. 4.
Maybe if they joined the lobby earlier, they would have a pit box towards the front. That's all I'm saying.
Or maybe if he wasn't 4 seconds off the lead train, he'd not have to worry too much.
Yeah, if he was 4 seconds in front, it'd be absolutely
fine. I
fine,
mean, that point meant nothing, but I just know it'll annoy Will Gibson, which was the point of saying it.
Right, someone clip that, send it well, please.
No, he'll find out later. He'll absolutely hammer into me because I support Birmingham City.
He'll do what to you?
Don't make it weird.
Anyway, we do see these guys now come out the back of Nelson Alves, 1.7 seconds on a fresh set of medium tyres, which can go the distance quite comfortably. For me, Jan and Nelson have to pull something spectacular out here to be able to hold off this, because there are going to be so many of these drivers, left, right, middle, sending it whichever way possible they can on these two, try and get past as soon as they can, try and break out a little bit of a gap to the cars behind, who will be on the same competitive compound of tyre as them. I mean, it sounds like a very obvious thing to say, especially when you do have cars which are still out there. Angelo, Lillian now diving it into the pits. They're going to feel, you know, a little bit hard done by the teammates' pit, especially for Angelo, who Ricciardo ends up getting double stacked. He's had to stay out another lap, unfortunately.
Yep, again. So Jerry has the lead of the race, ahead of Elliot Tomasetto, who's just going to go a bit longer here. Lillian, let's see where he comes out compared to the others. So I'm going to drop down quite a lot here. Remember, Rez Clutch were running in that top 5 with Lillian the whole time. Now he drops out in P7, just ahead of Race Intias. So yeah, pretty much top 5, because there's still 2 that have to pit. So decent execution there by Race Clutch to get their cars out in a provisional 3 and 5 position, which have been really good for their championship, because remember, they're around 30-ish points back from TES. I can't see TES keeping a 1-2 at all with those old hard tyres. So we'll see. Maybe they'll drop back a little bit, and that allows Race Clutch to really capitalise, because then Reese Linton is in a winning position. So
absolutely, it's one of those you just got to keep chipping away at. You know, you've got to feel a little bit for the likes of Dylan Warren now down in P14. And speaking of Dylan as well, I've got a lovely comment here, which Yona won't very be happy about, from Matt over on Twitch, saying, Dylan with the McDonald's livery, and I love it. I hate to tell you, it's a Ferrari livery, my
why would
friend.
Yona hate McDonald's?
Because it's a Ferrari. I'm not going to draw the line, but he's just called a Ferrari a McDonald's car, so we'll leave it at that one, as we see the TES cars swapping here once again. And I do believe that was Tavish Gal and Reese Linton swapping. Was it, or was that Lillian? Someone swapped somewhere there.
Yes, it was, I think, Tamash going ahead of Race.
Nah.
And now we do see Race trying to go ahead of Angelo down towards turn 1, but no, just gets overtaken, and Angelo goes into P7. And Nelson Alves gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple track limit violations. That has really harmed TES's race. And then does that mean Nelson Alves can just step into defend mode and just sit back and hold everyone up to help Jan here?
I mean, at that point, isn't it?
Vissy! Drew Van Bustle's out at turn 4!
Oh, here we go.
And he's done an Otis Lawrence. He's lost the front left wheel.
Oh my, can we not call it Otis Lawrence, mate? He's already ruined it. He's already left the stream. He's already upset with the comments he made. Mate, your DMs are not going to be full of nice comments for Christmas, I'll tell you that much.
Victoria makes a good point. Why YouTube has just turned into a dating channel. I've just saw Christian, Axel and Mirko talking about their love for women.
I mean, all power to
I'm not going to disagree and agree, because it's not the right time to, but, you know, you've all made valid points.
Listen, if they want to talk about, you know, their love lives openly in a YouTube channel, PSGL E-Series, who are we to judge? I'm sure theirs is going better than mine at the minute. I'm sure they're going better than yours, Nathan. So we've just got to crack on and keep our relationship a secret from the society. And yeah, lovely stuff. But no, overall, let's try and dial it back in towards a race a little bit here, because now Tamash Gal within DRS
Josh,
under this VSC.
Why is Elliot not pitted with the VSC? Yes, he would. Well, don't matter. It's ended.
built different. Got penalty, but built different. Sticking out there until the end of time. No stop strategy. Doing Josh special.
Batteries are being burnt.
Oh,
Tamash Gal has been absolutely. What's the word? I'm trying to think of a really long word to describe that, but I can't think of one.
There's a word.
There we go.
Yeah, there's a word.
A word beginning with F.
Oh, dearie me. And that Race Clutch currently find themselves in a net P3, P4, especially with the opportunity now to try and crack down on Nelson Alves. If I'm TES, right, engineering side, like I was going to say before, VSC, let Nelson pass Jan and ask Jan to put up the best defense of his life.
No,
try and build 3 seconds.
No, you use Nelson to back them up, because they're not gonna find a 3-second gap. It's not gonna happen at all. There's no chance.
There's an opportunity, mate. Opportunity.
Because as soon as that gap goes below a second between Reese and Jan, boom, Reese is straight past him. So
just defend more. Don't let Reese pass. Job done. Brilliant. You're welcome.
But the other tactic I have is basically just get Nelson to drop back to around 6-7 tenths from Jan. And Reese, then, if he just passes Nelson, can get re-overtaken again.
A better tactic.
What?
Just drive quicker.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm here all week, by the way, guys. If anyone wants to sign me for an engineering team, I'm here. As once again, we do see a little bit of teamwork there from Race Clutch cars going too wide, boxing in Angelo Dorotenzio. Unfortunately for them, Angelo had different ideas and thought, you know what, Schrodinger's box, I'm just going to find out what's in it. It's not me this time, because I'm going to make a move up into P4, which of course will lead himself onto the back of Nelson Alves. And with the pace Angelo's shown so far this race, he's more than happy to try and make a little rustle-tussle in between the top two.
His race pace has been absurd. It's been brilliant so far in this race, and certainly we'll be looking to hunt down a victory here in E-Series, of course. I don't think he's ever won an E-Series race, but certainly he's been on the podium for Veloci Academy on multiple occasions. If I'm wrong and he has won, please correct me in the chat, but there's that many people that win here in E-Series. You never know who's actually won and who hasn't before in the past, and someone who certainly hasn't won here before is Tamas Gal, who's looking to do so. He's pushing hard on these medium tyres, but ahead of him are two teammates. They're not going to hold back at all. Well, they are going to hold back. They're going to hold Tamas Gal back from making moves. As we do see here, Tamas just looking to push Lillian through and find an opportunity to make a move, but can't do so. So for now, stays in P7.
And, you know, Nathan, I'll ask you if your great expertise on, you know, sitting in DRS trains, because you're quite often closer to a DRS train than me. I'm normally, you know, 10 miles in front of it.
Me?
A lap down. Yeah. You know, how frustrating is this going to be for the drivers?
Very.
Just sitting here knowing that, hey, if this was just a straight fair fight and it was everyone in a free-for-all, almost,
Well, I mean,
you'd easily be able to get past, because here we're just seeing Tamas Gal, just getting completely bullied by both race clutch drivers.
yeah, but the thing is, Reese Linton won't be happy with his teammate because his teammate made a move which allowed Tamas Gal to look to make a move into turn 1. So those two aren't going to be happy with being stuck in this train. But yeah, I mean, it depends. Some drivers are happy to do it, but others just get bored. And when you get bored, you know, you're more likely to try and cook something up, aren't you? And try and do something a bit different. So if you're Angelo here, you're like, right, we've got nothing to do. Why don't we just go for a move? Why not? You know, you got nothing else. You've got nothing better to do. So
I
that's
had
the only
turn
thing
3's
it
flat
does.
if you're
It
brave
brings
enough.
temptation, doesn't it?
Yeah, turn 3, it's flat if you're brave enough.
Yeah, but
Ask Otis.
well, I mean, the
He
thing
knows.
is, you could probably take it near a flat, but you go across the whole track and brush both walls. Whereas when you take it in Jerry Van Bussel style, you just go into the wall and clip it off completely. But I mean,
Wow.
the mad thing about this, Josh, is CPI have got a double DNF, and I don't want to say, but I think this might be one of the only times that's ever happened in E-Series, where the same team have DNF'd, both had a DNF. I don't think it's happened before.
Yeah, and we've had
CPI,
Danny,
well done.
we've had Danny Van Rauter express some of his feelings, asking Elia Tomasetto to learn how to drive.
Oh.
It's
Well.
it's harsh.
I mean,
It's
to
very
be fair, it was
harsh.
3 wide. You can't blame anyone but those 3. I mean, if I go into a corner and I'm like, right, someone's made it 3 wide, what do you do?
Right.
Stick it to the inside or back out? I'd back
Well,
out if I was them. As we do see here,
Oh, for
Angelo
fun.
Hortensio looking to try and get ahead of both of the TES
Oh.
cars. We're going 4 wide again into turn number 1. We've got Lillian Davenport up the inside trying to make a move. Angelo cuts him off and says, no, stay behind him. I'm taking that second place, which is technically first because Elia's got to pit. And is it... Wow, does Elia hold everyone up here? Because that'd be brilliant, wouldn't that? That'd be fun.
I'll get Thomas Schlammer in a win. Easy peasy. I mean, it would be kind of a horrible thing to do, especially considering how good the racing's been so far up towards this front end.
That makes it more interesting because we've got everyone trying to force past the TF10, who's just going to flip the birds to them all and do a Liam Lawson.
It's one of those, though, isn't it? Is it really going to be too much of a benefit for TF10? At this point, they've kind of already left a liar out there.
Yeah,
Tomasetto's in no man's land. Realistically, where's he going to finish?
Last.
P17?
No, but he'll be last.
P16?
He'll be last only because of him having that 10 seconds as well. Yeah,
Very
add that on
good
top
point.
of a 20-second penalty, you're 30 seconds
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, exactly. So, might as well give it a go.
But
But
at
I'm sure
least,
Angelo...
Josh, I was going
Go
to say, at
for
least he can make use of a soft tyre.
Yeah, and Angelo is going to be very grateful. He's got a little bit of DRS now as well.
He has, and Angelo's job here is just get past him ASAP. You stay behind Elliot, and you could definitely lose a position or two. Lillian,
Right.
he's shown this race twice already. He's not scared to make a move, and if you're Angelo and you end up sitting back behind, Lillian will think, you know what, go for it. Straight down to turn 1, boom, makes a position.
Oh, here we go.
As we do see Angelo looking to get ahead, should easily get ahead of Elliot. And we see Lillian again. What's he going to do? He sits behind, but Ellie's going to
Oh,
fight it into
Tomasetto,
turn 1.
hello! He's still trying, isn't he? He's still looking to try and hang on there, but he's going to be cast away to the outside there. This is where Lillian's going to be looking to try and dance around the outside at turn 3. It's going to be easier said than done. Cut back there from Tomasetto, early braking just to make sure he can make the corner. And now this is where TES are going to feel the full wrath of the car on 20-lap-old hard compound tyres. You can basically see how much more grip Nelson's got through the S's section, looking to try and burn a little bit of battery here to try and get an opportunity to overtake as soon as possible. But of course, there's only an opportunity there for one of the TES cars to get past. Jan Halliday's going to have to wait a little bit longer for his opportunity to make this move, especially now heading for a braking zone. About a couple fast-flowing corners. It's not looking great for Tomasetto, but all he's got to do is just make sure he keeps out of the way and doesn't cause any contact. That's the last thing he needs at the moment.
It certainly is, as we do see here, Tamashka looking to close in on the back of Jan Halliday, but backs off as they head their way down towards turn 22 here at the high-speed chicane. And of course, this is where we'll see a big difference in speed between Halliday and Tomasetto as we head our way through. Jan on the battery, burning it all to get past the TF10 driver as we head our way down to turn number 27. Of course, we can also
He's not
see
making it easy.
Tamas Gal
is he?
involved as Lillian takes the lead of the race and a race clutch here, Josh. They're on for a win, along with Angelo D'Ortenzio for Veloci Academy. But do you
Certainly
think that Tess still has something in the bag here to try and take it? With Jan.
I mean, they give him a tyre compound difference, and you know, they're going to have to find something special.
It's 3 wide and Elliot gets sandwiched into turn 1.
I don't like that. I'm clenching. I was not a fan of that one.
That was quite, well, more than close, wasn't it, Josh?
Yeah, it was uncomfortable as a spectator, and you know, you don't quite often get those moments, especially when it's you know, not real racing and it's virtual cars. You don't often quite feel that level of it's going down here. That was one of those moments, and I'm kind of grateful it's over already. But the question you posed were with TES, given we're on the hard compound tyre, and the fact that we've still got drivers such as Tamas Gal recently behind them on the mediums who are still looking very hungry, I feel like it's too early to call. Lap 22 out 25, and it's still too early to call to see whether they're actually going to be able to fully send it and, you know, try and make a couple extra moves, try and push the boundaries a little bit more. But I do feel like if any driver is going to be more than willing to take the risk, it'll be Nelson. I mean, he's already got about 3 second worth of time penalties. Why not try and cause a little bit of disruption, as Lillian's done everything they possibly can to try and break the toe to Angelo behind, but it's not going to be enough, is it?
I suppose, at the same sense, Nelson's not going to try and hold everyone up, because if he does that, he brings Tudor and that closer, and they are at the moment with a 4.8 second gap. So, yes, you might not be able to get Jan the win by holding people up, but at least you can get yourself a guaranteed top 8 for both of you. Because Jan, Nelson, will finish at least 8th now because of the penalty. Yeah, maybe lower, depending if the others can catch up.
Yeah, and considering these lot seem like they're in quite a mood for a scrap, they might very well end up catching up towards the end of this race, because as far as things go, these drivers, they're not taking a chill pill, they're not waiting for the last lap, they're still more than happy to try and stick the nose probably where it shouldn't go, and try and cause at least a couple of drivers to maybe have some second guesses about whether they're actually fully committing to the move or not, especially around a track like Jeddah. It's a very dangerous game to play, but we know these drivers, we know they like playing dangerously, and they're more than happy to try and do a couple cheeky things similar. Tamas Gal had to go defensive on Reese all over the back of Tamas Gal, and you know, from a lap ago when Tamas seemed to be hounding the back of Jan Halliday's car, it just really goes to show how quickly everything changes here in E-Series, doesn't it?
Definitely, but also we're seeing here a brilliant drive by Lillian Debecourt, because look at the gap, it's 7/10. Nelson Alves is looking to try and get past Angelo as they head themselves to turn 22. So is Angelo doing this on purpose, or is he struggling with pace here? Because Nelson is all over the rear of him as they head their way down to the final corner now. Nelson Alves to the outside line. Jan Halliday is going to try and close in here. Not make a move, but will close up. And then, of course, we'll see here, of course, Nelson Alves disrupting the party ahead can bring Jan Halliday into the battle, which it does do. We head our way back down to turn 1 again, and let's see what happens this time around. Any overtakes down to turn 1, we'll see. Dylan Moran jumps up into P9 ahead of Laminant. We head back down to turn 1. No moves are made on this occasion, but Tamas Gal got very close there to the back of Jan Halliday, so he could also be thinking about lining up a move in the next lap and a half, 2 laps.
He tried it there, didn't he? He went for a little dart to the inside just to try and spook Jan Halliday a little bit, but Jan, cold as ice, more than happy just to sit on the racing line, says, hey, if you're going to do that, you're taking us both out, mate. And Tamas very wisely decided, maybe it's worth holding on to a P5 at the minute. I'm sure there'll be an opportunity slightly later in the lap, or maybe even heading on to the final lap. Because, of course, we're on lap 24 out of 25 here, Nathan. It's getting close, it's getting frisky, and Reyes certainly trying to get frisky himself, putting it on the inside there of Riesland. A very cheeky, very opportunistic, and he's looking to try and drag this one out here, round the outside of this next part. Of course, he'll turn back towards the inside. He's got the move done. Brilliant stuff there from Reyes.
That's
getting himself up into P6.
Move of the race.
As far as moves go, mate, it's up there, isn't it? It was absolutely fantastic. But we might be seeing another move here because Tamas Gal's decided to bump draft Jan Halliday into a braking zone. Yeah. Very cheeky. I'm not sure you'd be able to get away with that. But he's certainly been able to get away without any front wing damage, which is the most important thing as we're approaching the penultimate corner here for the penultimate lap before heading on to lap 25 out of 25. If there's going to be fireworks, this is where it's going to happen, Nathan.
Certainly is. Lap 25 and 25. He's underway. And Lillian Debecourt is the one to lead it here for Race Clutch, but closing in behind 2 hungry test cars on the back of a Veloci Academy And especially then, we've got Tamashka behind in P5, looking to close in, Josh. So it's definitely not all over yet, but these top 5, I don't really know which one I can say will win this, because it could be any of them, if you ignore Nelson Alves' penalty, of course.
Yeah, I mean, as far as, history goes to say, it's quite often Macari in P3 when it heads onto the final lap around Jeddah, isn't it? With the double slipstream effect they get, a bit of battery dump as well. They're able to find themselves getting such a brilliant toe down the back straight. But considering Nelson's got the penalty, it's anyone's game at the moment, isn't it? Because theoretically, he could just slingshot Jan Halliday ahead of himself.
He could do, but I mean, he will finish at least P7, which is a good thing. It's still going to be a top 7 for Nelson Alves, but certainly would have liked it to be that P3 that they're sitting in at the moment as we head our way down to turn 22 here for the final time this Grand Prix. We'll see who's going to be looking to try and take the lead. Lillian has got a lot of work to do here for Race Coach if he wants to take victory for them here around Jeddah, but also we got Angelo, Nelson, Jan, Tamash closing in. Even Race and Reese could get themselves involved. We get a penalty for ABS further back as Angelo takes the lead around the outside into the final corner. Lillian tries to send it back. They make slight bit of contact. Lillian has a half spin. Through goes Nelson Alves. Tamash as well is ahead of Jan Halliday as they head to the line. Who takes the victory? It's Angelo. Angelo Dortentio for Veloci Academy wins in Jeddah. And Lillian Nebuchor comes home in second for Race Clutch. And Tamashgal taking the podium for R8G in third. What a brilliant ending. And TES, not the result they were hoping for, with a P4 and a P7. And a brilliant result as well for Race Imtiaz. FVR in the top 5. It's not often we'll be saying that this season.
Fantastic stuff from start to finish throughout this entire Grand Prix. Everyone, I mean, as far as things go, absolutely miraculous there. It's such a shame. Nelson Alves point 002 off of Angelo to be able to pick up the win on track, so to say. But as far as things go, let's just give a quick mention. Dylan Warren, P8.
P8.
How's he there? How's he there? I'm sorry. This is a joke. He disappears for half a race and he's there. Phenomenal stuff.
Oh,
I mean, and then, we sit there and we think, what's this going to do to the standings? Well,
it's going to
everyone's
change
starting to pull a little bit.
Though, Ferrari's going to start dropping away now. Again.
Yeah. Again, it's another hit for them. But with that being said, it's another little burst of energy for Race Clutch. They'll be closing the distance to TES.
The good thing for Ferrari is it's their time off now. We have Christmas, of course, after this race. Well, not directly after this race, but they get a few weeks off till we go back into the action again. Esports will be happening in mid-January. Do you reckon we might see a return of Nicholas and Barry maybe just to get themselves a bit warmed up, ready for the E-Series season ahead?
Potentially, but then again, are they going to be so far into, a training camp? Are they going to be practicing, religiously for the tracks coming up? It very much is up in the air a little bit, isn't it? Because as much as I'm sure everyone here, including myself, including you, Nathan, presumably, would love to see him back here giving it another go. The calendar doesn't feast too well for what matches up with Event 1, of course. Belgium, Azerbaijan and Brazil left in the E-Series calendar. Would it be the wisest move for Ferrari to chuck him in? Maybe not, but as far as things go, it's heating up. It's getting relatively warm here in E-Series, to be quite honest with you, and that gap is just closing more and more with each race which goes by.
And Josh, key thing to notice, top 4 have 4 of the teams that are in the top 5 in the standings. So they're all still going to be relatively close, all finishing within that top 4. But 35 points go to Angelo Dortenzio. But what could Riccardo Benzoni have done if he had a better race? Don't get me wrong, he did get affected by the double sack. But apart from that, it wasn't the best race. He was struggling. His pace wasn't there. He was the one who initiated that DRS loss at the start with everyone P8 down. So it's not been the best result for him.
No, it's not. But at the same time, you can't always have perfect results, can you? You can't always be on the top of your game. End of the day, nobody's perfect. We've learned that one the hard way. Whether that's going to be through life tribulations or whatever it might be, right? Everyone occasionally has an error. Maybe today wasn't just Benzoni's day. Maybe he's had a mince pie. Maybe he's had a couple glasses of apple juice. But nevertheless, he still showed up. He still competed. And he still brought some home valuable points for the Veloci Academy. You can change your screen back to us now, Nathan, my friend, if that's all right with you.
Will do. 1 second.
I mean, yeah, it's okay. No, you take your time.
Well,
You
we've got
take your
Tamashin,
time,
so I'll
sweetheart.
chuck it onto the interview screen instead. Right, we'll drag him in.
Beautiful.
Right, Tamash, welcome in. Can you hear us?
Yo, yes, I can.
Perfect. So you're not been in here that often this season, but of course you've been here again. You've got yourself a P3 for R8G, a decent result indeed, wasn't it? How was your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, it was a decent result. I didn't hear you for a long time now in VC. Yeah, quali. I mean, starting off quali, it was pretty decent quali. In Q1, I had an unfortunate issue with my wheelbase. It just turned off, and I couldn't go through with one run. So then I just had to use another tire. And then qualified P3 in Q3, which was pretty decent. Then the race was also pretty good. The VSCs caught me off a little bit. The second VSC caught me off guard a little bit. Like I had to brake very hard into the last corner to not get a penalty because it was literally millimeters close to get a penalty. And then Angelo and the race clutch guys could overtake me. And then in the end, I just tried to move up again and then just try to overtake the hard runners, but the TES guys were working together insanely, I can say. They were doing a brilliant job there. So yeah, and then in the last corner I could get Jan Halliday. He tire hooked a little bit on the exit, which I'm not very happy about it, which yeah, cost me a little bit of pace in the end, and maybe could have got P2 in the end, but it's just part of league racing, right? So not really angry about it.
Yeah, it's a good result either way, though. Jumped up onto the podium, of course. It still leaves R8G in that title fight, of course, with many of the other
Yeah.
championship contenders right up there as well. I think jumping a little bit ahead of Ferrari, so a bit more of leeway in that stance, but it's still going to be a hard fight, isn't it, into the next couple of rounds? Will we see you, do you reckon, sometime next year?
You will be able to see me again, probably in Brazil, or maybe Belgium. Not sure though. We will see. I also have other things to practice on and to prepare for. So we will see. I will decide, and obviously what RG will decide if it's better to, to give a chance to another driver, or we can let me race again. We will see. But you will definitely see me one more time in the season for sure.
Well, great. That's great to hear.
Brilliant.
Well, that's all from me. Josh, anything from you?
I mean, as far as it goes, mate, is that going to be one of the tensest battles you've had up towards the front of the field around this circuit? Because for us, it was like a roller coaster of emotions. Everyone was trying to swap positions and battle throughout the entire race. I mean, was there ever a point where you could somewhat just turn your brain off slightly and relax a little bit and go, right, just going to sit in the train a bit, recharge my battery, and focus on how I'm going to be able to get past a couple of these guys?
To be honest, I was trying to relax all the time, but the hard runners had just that that much of a tire disadvantage, because I think TS was mainly going for a strategy to gamble a safety car in the first hit, because then they could just literally have the freest 1-2. But even a medium hard strategy is still decent on paper, but obviously if two guys are working together every time and they're just blocking each, like blocking B, and then I can't overtake, will be a little bit hard. I was obviously trying to overtake on different places, but they were always covering it off very nicely. Like I said, they were just doing a brilliant team work together. Obviously, Tijo had an unfortunate penalty, 10 seconds. I think he would have been up there with us as well. I think it was because of overtaking on the yellow flags. I'm not sure, but it was unfair. And then obviously you can't remove it in the game. You have to serve it in the pits, which was unlucky for him. I think he would have been up there with us. So alone was a little bit harder to fight them. But in the last corner, I caught off guard Jan Halliday a little bit, because usually Jan was going to the inside and Nelson was going to the outside. So Jan could break a little bit later. So he has free space and I can't overtake at all because the inside is blocked and the outside is blocked. But yeah, I caught Jan Holiday off guard in the last corner, and I could get the position.
Yeah,
It
I
it
know.
was it was a little bit tense, but I could overtake him in the end, which which gave me the podium.
Yeah, of course, and you kept your cool all throughout it, and that poses me with the next question I've got. You said you mentioned other things to do aside from E-Series. If I'm not mistaken, you've got quite a good iRacing score, don't you?
I'm not doing iRacing.
Okay.
I'm sometimes doing iRacing, but only I'm not for the iRating. I'm just maybe sometimes with friends driving
Yeah,
or just
because
alone. Sometimes just enjoying. But there are other commitments. I think.
okay, okay, okay.
There are other commitments, but it's not another game. Maybe in the future.
Okay,
We'll see.
okay. Well, we'll have to keep an eye out for that one. But once again, Tamash, thank you for joining us. And as far as things go, we do hope to see you back here at E-Series because let's be honest, mate, it's been a pleasure having you back once again.
Yeah, I'm also happy. It has been a long time because in the first E-Series season, I remember I don't think I was racing a lot, but when I was racing, I wasn't on the podium, maybe top 5. But and then this season, I think Austria had an unfortunate incident on lap 1. I think it was this season, Austria, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, it was. Had an unfortunate incident there, which costed us good points, but it feels good to be back because I mean it's still pretty competitive grid.
Yeah,
Obviously not PCF1, but it's still the upcoming talents and like people like Angelo, Benzoni, Jan Holiday, these kind of people, Nelson, these kind of people are the people to watch out. I think in the future because they might get a chance in esports.
yeah,
So
absolutely. So there you go, everyone in the E-Series grid. Tamash said it first. Get quicker, be PCF1. Job done. Brilliant. But no, thank you for joining us, Tamash. It's been absolutely brilliant having you in the commentary box once again. And yeah, thank you for your time for your interview and congratulations on the race, mate. Really good stuff.
thank you, and thanks for
Bye.
having me.
No problem.
Bye.
Pleasure.
Have a good
Bye.
one.
Good
Bye-bye.
night, one. Good night, guys.
Right, there we are. Brilliant
Lovely
chat
bloke.
there with Tamash.
Lovely.
Always a great guy to have in the commentary box.
He
Very
is.
nice little chat.
He's
Post
never
race.
changed. He's always up for a chinwag, isn't he?
Oh,
It's
he is,
brilliant.
which is brilliant.
It's
Better
great.
than having someone that pops in and was like, "Oh, hello, yeah, bye," pretty much. Which we've had happen before.
Yeah,
And my
I mean,
camera's still zoomed in for some odd reason. So there we are.
mate,
You're just
it's
stuck looking at me zoomed in now.
there you go. It's
Until
trying to
the
get
end.
trying to see your hairline, mate.
It's not
Go on,
good.
flip it up. Expand.
no.
Go on, flip it up. Flip it up.
No,
Flip it up. Go on. Ah.
Not
Well,
today.
I mean, I'm not really sure there's too much more we can touch on here, Nathan, because
Yeah, it's
Tash
been a-
basically wrapped it up beautifully.
Pretty much, yeah. Explained everything so we don't have to. In that race, it was it was a good race to unpack though. There was a lot going on. It really helps the championship. It doesn't help Ferrari at all, but the other 4 teams still heavily in for a shot. I mean, Race Clutch having a P2 and a P6, Veloce Academy P1 and I think P9 in the end. So still decent results for the teams. Probably not the results they would have been hoping for, especially being as all the teammates that were left behind on other days would have been fighting for victories.
Yeah, but it's one of those, isn't it? We head into this festive break, as it's called, here at PSGL, trying to be a bit more inclusive for everyone around the globe. Everyone gets a little bit of a break, a little bit of a reset before, of course, we do bring it back for round 8 at Belgium on the 10th of January.
Yes.
It feels like it's been an age away, mate.
I mean, 4 days before
That's a month and a
esports as
bit.
well, Josh. We have a we have a right old week, don't we?
Mate, that's going to be a fun one to explore as well with Azerbaijan there. Correction, Azerbaijan's on the 24th. It's had an update. It's on the 24th, so don't worry. We're not forcing people to choose between F1, sim racing, and E-Series because we all know they'll pick E-Series. To be fair, so
Yeah, definitely. We don't want esports to lose if you do we, Josh?
no, exactly. I mean, to be fair, we're just being nice to them. They should thank us, really.
Yeah, Belgium, Azerbaijan, Brazil. It's a decent way to end the season.
Sign me up. Sign me up. I'm happy with those, and I feel like a couple of the drivers might not necessarily be too happy with it, especially given the slipstream and the DRS and the battery. But well, you signed up for it. You knew it was fair. Last 3 rounds of the season. Let's have it. Let's see what these drivers are made out of through sort of the fan favorite tracks of the last decade. To be quite honest with you.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, one of them very new, being Azerbaijan, Belgium, and Brazil. They've been around for a long, long time. But that is all we have for you here on the PSGL channel. Of course, have a great Christmas, festive break, whatever you want to call it, and we'll, of course, be back for the new year in 2025, where all the action kicks off once again. Guys, thanks for joining us. It's been a pleasure, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.